is located, and it will be vetted by police to avoid scammers ruining the whole thing. Deputy Fred Fissler died overnight Monday into Tuesday in a crash in Plainfield. He was a 2.5-year veteran of the Hendricks County Sheriff's Office, leaving behind a wife and 2 kids. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A police chase that started in Henry County Thursday morning ended with a person killed in a crash near the Ball State University campus. Police say the suspect crashed at an intersection and the passenger in the car, Nicholas Wallum, was killed when the car collided with a Jeep. Police say they started chasing the car after the driver would not pull over for a traffic violation. One of the arguments against legalizing pot has long been that it's a gateway drug. However, Keith Johnson with Indiana Normal says that stigma is starting to shift.
Certainly, we found that the evidence supports that it's a gateway drug out of other drugs. So a lot of that stigma is dying off, and we know its medical uses now.
On Indy Politics, he's urging lawmakers not to neglect what the people of Indiana clearly want, which is legal pot. Tomorrow is 420, which is an unofficial holiday for pot enthusiasts. A father accused of smoking pot with his daughter is now behind bars. Harrison Silcox.
A complaint from a juvenile made to the Fort Wayne Police Department is how officers found out Keith Ptolemy had been providing and smoking weed with his 15-year-old daughter. Officers say Ptolemy told them it's something that had been going on for 2 years. He's now preliminarily charged with 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor and was moved to the Allen County Jail Thursday. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Colts linebacker Rashad Berry has been reinstated by the NFL. He'd been suspended for violating the league's gambling policies. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
It is a crash going northbound 65 between the North Split and the Meridian Penn. And right now the left lane is blocked. This has traffic jam through the North Split and onto westbound 70. That's now stop and go. Sherman Drive into the North Split. And northbound 6570 also stopped from Michigan Street into the North Split because of that crash. And we have rubbernecking coming southbound 65. Stop and go after 21st to Meridian Penn. After that, it opens up as you make your way to eastbound 70 and onto the east side. Reminder, Fall Creek Parkway closed at Evanston. That's going on until April 30th. Another 11 days. If the weather cooperates, it'll be done then April 30th. But that's a big closure between 38th and Keystone. Again, Fall Creek Parkway shut down. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Dents happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Decreasing clouds, breezy for the morning. Those will diminish this afternoon. Cool day, a high of 59. Mostly clear, quiet, and chilly overnight. A low down to 42. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Thick cloud cover out there, otherwise 50 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Damon's Lawn and Garden on West Rockville Road.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Friday, April 19th. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. You made it to the weekend. 7 minutes after 9, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Casey?
Yes?
I don't know if you've noticed.
What?
Everything is really expensive.
I have noticed it, Rob, and it is so frustrating. When are these politicians going to stop spending our money and creating all of this inflation?
Well, and I felt like a piece of human garbage a few moments ago because Casey walks in and I was like, Casey, I just paid $2.49 for a donut. And then Casey, and rightfully so, launched into the price of medicine these days. And I said, ooh, wow, I didn't know that was going on. I suddenly don't feel as bad about my donut. But the reality in all of this is, and this wasn't going to be our opening topic, but it is reaching level of just unaffordability for many people.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking like sometimes there are portions of the economy where you go, that's kind of out of control. You know, gas has been that way many times, and people got to make hard choices with that. But I don't remember everything being out of control.
Did you see the article? It was a woman who was complaining that she paid $7 for an apple at Whole Foods. And my first thought was, okay, well, stop shopping at Whole Foods because they're known to be a little bit pricey, or you can get an apple elsewhere. But it doesn't matter where you shop.
No.
Everything's expensive. And it doesn't matter what service you need. Everything's expensive.
I am, and I thought there was a brief moment when they told me the price of that donut. And I was like,
was it worth it?
put it back. I thought, well, that'd be kind of a jerk move. But you're sitting here going, what at this point are regular people supposed to do? And so we kind of got into this conversation before we went on air. And here is the thing, though. If you keep electing the same people, it's the vampire argument that I had earlier. If you invite vampires into your house, and not only do that, you say, here's my neck, you can't be mad when they drain your blood. If you vote for, somebody asked me last night about voting, and they were talking about a local race, and I think it was a state Senate race. And one of the guys is the incumbent. And I said, no, you can't vote for this guy. And they said, well, what about the other guy? I said, don't know, don't care. I said, at this point, short of him being on a poster in a post office for international terrorism, I'm voting for every non-incumbent at this point at a state and federal level because you can't keep voting for the same people. You can't keep electing the same people who keep doing the same stuff. How many times do they have to tell you? We are way past this being the fault of COVID on most of these things. That is totally in the rearview mirror. COVID should never have been the fault of anything to begin with because largely that was made up bull crap by our government. Now, I'm not saying COVID didn't exist. What I am saying is the ramifications of COVID for the overwhelming majority of Americans was not anywhere near what the government presented it to be. So at this point, we are voting for people who are addicted to spending money. I saw this yesterday. Indy Star had an article about the school referendums that are on the ballot this year. One of them, I believe it is Pike Township, where they got all this COVID money that came in. So this is money that didn't exist. It was, what they did was they didn't put it back for a rainy day. They didn't say, okay, let's have an emergency fund. They created a bunch of new government people and government programs. Now the COVID money has ceased to exist. And so what are they doing, Casey? Instead of returning things to its natural order, they're having a tax referendum to replace the money for the people, the government workers, and the projects that didn't exist pre-COVID. This is the same thing we've seen go on with the state of Indiana, where they got all this federal money that came in. They got all these new government programs that these Republicans, the Republican Party, the party of low taxes and limited government, instead of saving the money, or heaven forbid you use it to decrease something like property taxes, they spent it on new government programs, new legalized vote buying operations. Now the money's running out, Casey. No one's talking about cutting the government or returning it to pre-COVID levels. So if you vote for incumbents at the state, local, or federal level, any of them, you are voting for the vampire to continue to suck the blood out of your neck. This is no longer a COVID issue. It is a politician spending issue.
How about the government? The growth of government isn't contributing to productivity. And I'll give you another one. If a snake bites you, you're not going to chase that snake down and ask it why. You're going to turn and go the other way.
This is what these people are. If you vote for any incumbents, like if you, in your state house or state senate races, and this is what I told the person who asked me about voting last night, there are over 100 Republicans of the 150 possible House and Senate members. None of them None of them, zero of the 100 you would think accidentally someone would try, have done anything to help you on property taxes. None of them have done anything to help you. In fact, unanimously, they voted to screw you on the gas tax again, which is to continue to raise it indefinitely. So if you vote for these people, they've told you we don't give two damns about you being able to afford to live in your house. We don't give two damns about you being able to afford to put gas in your car. So if you're going to excuse your guy or your girl, then you don't get the right to complain anymore. I'm going to ask every person who I see bitching on social media, who did you vote for after this election cycle? Because we just went through this with Todd Young, where all these people, well, yeah, he's pretty bad. But, we can't have a Democrat in there because spending might get out of control. And now what have we seen? For the first year he's been back in office since being reelected, a year and a half now, he has screwed people time and time and time again. And the very people who voted for him are the first ones to step up and whine and complain and moan about what he does. If you vote for incumbents in the state house, state senate, or U.S. House races, you are voting for the vampire to continue to suck the blood out of your neck, and you are voting for the $2.50 donut.
Okay, so in regards to Todd Young, at least he was honest with you. He told you very infamously at the Stacks Pancake House that he was not going to stop the spending. So he at least is being true to that. What about Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, who went on and on and on about protecting the southern border, and if we're going to spend money, it's got to be on our sovereignty. And now look what he's doing. What is it in Washington, in the swamp, that makes them change their tune so quickly? Is it the cherry blossoms? What is it about that city that makes people do a 180?
Casey, I don't know if you're wearing a dress today or not, but I'm going to say this, and if you are and you can't do this, that's fine. But everybody who told society and everybody who told all the people in Washington, do not vote for this guy, put your feet up on your desk right now. Oh, wait. Oh, that's us. Casey and I are doing that because we told you. Everybody knows what these people are. And Dwight Schrute famously said, the liar will perspire. And in this case, Mike Johnson is probably sweating bullets because that's what all of these people are. They do not. You do not get elevated to the level of Speaker of the House if you're an honest, decent human being who actually cares about the people you're elected to serve. The establishment, the cabal, the whatever you want to call it, is not going to allow that to happen. So whether it was Kevin McCarthy, I think it was Babylon Bee had some meme gif, whatever the thing is that they post, whatever you call that, where it is though the Mike Johnson suit has been unzipped and it's Kevin McCarthy under it.
Sure.
These
Same
people
guy.
They're all the same.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
People say, why are you the way you are to the Republicans? Because there's no difference. They do not elevate people who are interested in helping others. And this is why I don't understand why someone like Tony Katz is so adamant that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie and these people are on some fool's errand to get rid of Mike Johnson. What's the difference? They've done all the things the Democrat want. The Republicans are about to or have or whatever, going to prioritize money for Ukraine ahead of the southern border. They're about to do it again. Why would we keep rewarding or care if the people who keep screwing us are not in a position of power?
Yep.
I didn't mean to turn this into, oh, woe is Rob because he had to pay $2.50 for a donut. But it just hit me. It was like, it is how much for this donut?
Was it, what kind of donut was it? Was it with sprinkles?
It was a little frosting on the top of it.
Good.
I mean, it was some yeast and some probably canned frosting. And now I did get two flavors of frosting. Maybe
That's
that. Nice. But look.
And now we're all experiencing your sugar high.
Just extrapolate this out to something that actually matters, though, like your groceries that your soup or your lunch meat or your hot dogs or your, essential things, milk, etc. Where does it end? If you're being taxed out of oblivion in your home, which you are thanks to the state people and the local people, if you're being money printed into oblivion thanks to the federal people, which we are, so now what? How do you make the choice between my property taxes and my food? I would like anyone any of these elected politicians to come on and explain that to me. And they're both equally guilty in the case of Indiana at the state and federal level. If you're a state lawmaker, come on and explain to people what are they supposed to choose, food or their property taxes. If you're a federal lawmaker, if you're some total zero like Jim Baird, come on and explain to people what choice are they supposed to make, their home or their food. None of these politicians ever want to be held accountable for this, Casey, and it is at a crisis point.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Like magic, it appears in the sky. A rainbow. Somewhere over that rainbow lurks not bluebirds or dreams. Hidden behind that beauty is trouble.
Get a cone tornado right there.
Don't be fooled.
Tornado on the ground! Confirmed tornado on the ground!
Confirmed tornadoes.
Oh my gosh, look at it. Oh my gosh.
This spring, depend on your severe weather station.
Baseball size hail.
93 WIBC.
On a map, the southern border is 1,000 miles away. But that's not how it feels to my family. I grew up in a blue-collar home in Richmond. My dad was a factory worker. He was laid off twice. Not because the factory was doing poorly, but because it was cheaper to move those jobs across the border. I'm Jameson Carrier. Today, it's not what's leaving across the border that's devastating our families. It's what's coming in. And once again, it's personal. My wife and I lost our son Joey to fentanyl, a tragedy that's become far too common. To President Biden, secure the border is just a talking point. But to our family, it's life and death. I'm Jameson Carrier. I'm a business owner, a native Hoosier, and a Trump Republican. And we can't wait another day to secure our border and put Americans first. I'm Jameson Carrier, and I approve this message.
Jameson Carrier for Congress. Paid for by Carrier for Congress, Inc.
I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Now through Monday, it's our once-in-a-lifetime sale. You thought the eclipse was big? This sale is bigger. Every mattress by Indiana-made Sealy. All outdoor furniture by Berlin Gardens and Pollywood. Every sectional, sofa, recliner by Indiana-made Smith Brothers and Lazy Boy is on sale now through Monday. Low price guarantee only at Thompson Furniture Mattress in Columbus.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
The countdown is on for the 2024 NFL Draft presented by Bud Light in Detroit, and you can attend in person for free. Experience live concerts, interactive games, player autographs, and more April 25th to 27th. Visit NFL.com/draft access to register for free entry today.
Damon's Garden Center has endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, hanging baskets, plus garden and landscape supplies, and a friendly, helpful staff at Damon's on West Rockville Road.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
I need the flight records. Dad, I'm trying to find some money for the family.
There's always money in a banana stand.
On 93 WIBC.
Is there money in a banana stand?
Well, the blues were pretty creative, Casey, so I don't know.
How expensive are those bananas to keep that stand going? The price of the bananas just keeps going up. It is 22 minutes after 9. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's Friday. Let's have a good time, but we have to mention this. President Biden, he was endorsed by the Kennedy clan.
Who cares?
Yesterday.
Like, what? Why was this even news? I don't even know who most of these Kennedys are anymore.
They want to harness the legacy of the Kennedy dynasty to promote Joe Biden because they're afraid that RFK Jr. is dangerous, and he's just trying to capitalize on his last name.
So this is how irrelevant the Kennedys are. So Ted Kennedy was the last Kennedy anybody gave two you-know-whats about, and he died in, 2010, I think, was when Scott Brown got elected in that special election over Obamacare. So he basically 14 or 15 years it's been since any Kennedy with any real sway or gravitas or anything was elected in elected office. Now, I think there have been a couple that have been, low-level congressmen or whatever. But I'm saying in terms of people, like if they walked in a room, people would be like, oh, it's, whichever Kennedy. Nobody cares about this family anymore. There's no sway, and yet they're running them out there as though Camelot is, alive and well, and as though it was Jack and Jackie doing the endorsements yesterday.
It wasn't. It was actually RFK Jr.'s sister.
Thank you, John, for those inspiring words. My name is Terry Kennedy, and I am the 7th child of Robert and Ethel Kennedy. I'm joined here today with my sisters Kathleen and Rory, with Joe and Chris and Max.
Oh, Max.
Yeah.
And with my hero, President Joe Biden.
Yes.
How is she 9 million years old?
No, she's not. I think she has the same affliction that Robert Kennedy Jr. has. But how would that make you feel? I know you're an only child, Rob, but if I were running for, president, and my brother came out or my sister came out and said, yeah, we're endorsing the other guy, like, ouch.
Yeah, but that's who that family is. I mean, that family is and has been since John Kennedy's old man. I mean, the founder of the Kennedy dynasty. He was a complete piece of garbage, too. That's who those people are. There's nothing about it. It's all what's in it for them. It's not the country. It's not the betterment of society. That's who those people are. I didn't know who any of those people were. I didn't know who any.
You don't know who Max Kennedy is?
I had no idea who any of those people were. And the fact that she's up there rip-roaring the names as though it's the royal family, or I don't know what. Who cares about any of that? All you did by doing that, to me at least, all you did by doing that was acknowledge we think this guy is an immense threat, and we're totally scared to death of him. If I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I'd tell all my siblings exactly where they could stick it, and I would use this and fundraise off this and turn this into a whole bunch of good.
Okay, so we often ask the question, could Joe Biden go into a gas station and fill up his car and check out? Or could he go to the grocery store and buy groceries and do the scanning?
No way.
Well, it happened yesterday.
Oh, no.
He went to a gas station, rather. He was in Pennsylvania, and he stopped by a Wawa, and the thing was completely scripted.
I gotta check out one thing. What kind of drinks do you have?
So whatever you like, sir, we can customize it to your specifications. So we have smoothies, we have milkshakes, we have refreshers.
How about a milkshake? Black and white.
A black and white milkshake? We could perfectly make that for you, sir. So if you would actually like to, right over there where it says order here, you can order it to your specification again. That includes whipped cream and other toppings as well.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Mr. President, I'm going to pick up a few pounds here.
And don't forget, we also included drinks for you as well, just to enjoy.
Okay, so I don't know.
Real quick, I want to ask the same question I asked about the 93rd daughter of Ethel Kennedy. Is he 9 million years old? Like, you can't even hear him, and it's not because he's far away from a microphone. Like, you can't even hear him.
So there's video.
It's an ice cream.
Milkshake. What kind of milkshake? The thing is, I don't know if you caught it. He's asking, they already have the food laid out in front of them and he's picking up at this gas station. And then he looks up like he's looking at a menu and says, what kind of drinks do you have here? And then they're like, well, you can, get a milkshake. Yeah, a milkshake. Go over there and order your milkshake. He looked totally confused, like he didn't understand. And then the cashier says, here are your drinks. Like, they already had drinks ready for him. The whole thing was scripted. It was pathetic. And he didn't know how to order the milkshake at all.
I will continue to ask this question, Casey, and it kind of dovetails into our opening segment about the price of everything. How did our country get into this position? Like, how did we, and why do we allow ourselves to be in a position where you have some guy who can't even order a milkshake at the... Do I get the topping? The milk? What are we doing here? We are the greatest idea ever conceived by man. We are a country that has been more blessed by God than any country in the history of the world not named Israel. I mean, we have so many incredibly talented and brilliant people at our disposal. And this?
Well, he's trying to one-up Donald Trump. Donald Trump goes to a Chick-fil-A, huge crowd. He buys 30 milkshakes and food for all the people. Joe Biden goes into a Wawa. He gets one milkshake for himself, no crowd, can't even do it. I mean, it's so clear the difference between these two campaigns.
What happened to us? Let's ponder that during the break, shall we?
Okay.
What happened? Maybe that's Kurt.
What is going on?
Maybe that's Kurt Darling's lead news story. What happened to us?
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Liberals have quit on America.
We have a secure border.
They'll deny it while they throw away the America we built together.
I'm telling the American people that we're going to get control of inflation.
It's no accident they let Indianapolis burn, or why our border overflows. Jefferson Shreve, he fights back. He's conservative, pro-police, strong border. So he gets hit like this.
Jefferson Shreve, Trump-style politics trashing our city.
And what's more, Shreve takes no lobbyist money, owes no one, and can't be bought. So to them, Shreve is the enemy. Defend our country from the left, the elites, the ones who've been bought and sold. Defend it with a fighter who can't be bought. For law, order, and a secure border, he's Jefferson Shreve for Congress.
I'm Jefferson Shreve, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Shreve for Congress.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They've responded. Radar is clear. It's cloudy and 51 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Secretary of State Antony Blinken this morning.
We're committed to Israel security. We're also committed to de-escalating, to trying to bring this tension to a close.
That after Israel launched a counterattack against military targets in Iran, a response to Iran's aerial attack last weekend on Israel. The U.S. saying that they were not involved in the response. G7 countries, though, saying that Israel did give advance notice before the strike was carried out. Most of the jury has been seated in the Trump hush money case in New York.
The jury consists of 7 men and 5 women, mostly professionals, but there's also a teacher, a physical therapist, and others. They all pledged to be fair and impartial to the former president, even though the lawyers tried to prevent that woman, who said she doesn't like his demeanor, from being seated on the panel.
Fox's Eric Shawn. Opening statements in the trial are expected to happen on Monday. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We're mixed at the opening bell. The Dow is up 6 to 38,013. The NASDAQ down 62 to 17,485. And the S&P 500 is down 6.5 to 5,043. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens in Westfield. The greenhouse is stocked with a great selection of early season tropicals. Visit them this week for the great color and foliage these tropicals have to offer. Also at Sundown this week, it's the Early Bird Nursery Sale. 20% off container trees and shrubs this week at Sundown Gardens. Get your yard and garden ready and save at Sundown Gardens, located 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, just west of Grand Park. Follow Sundown Gardens on social media or visit sundown.gardens.com.
It's the final days of Diamonds Direct Spring Sale. This is your last chance to get 20% off store-wide. Plus, book an appointment and you'll get an additional $100 off your purchase. You don't want to miss this. 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. And a huge selection of the latest styles with in-store designer appearances. 20% off ends this Sunday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 27th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Join the Home and Garden Show this Saturday at Exercise Inc. at their Fisher's Open House, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Monday Drive, just east of State Road 37 off 141st Street.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Long may you run.
Oh, yes, Kevin. Since we got to talk about this dog crap music, Kev said I'm going to ease the pain here a little bit with a little Neil Young.
You like this one?
It's my favorite Neil Young song.
You're pretty good at identifying that really quickly.
Yeah.
We're going to test your musical knowledge coming up in just a bit.
It's with Stephen Stills, too. Song about a Volkswagen.
So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they've announced their nominees of this year's induction class. And on Sunday, they're going to announce who actually is going to be inducted.
Is Styx going to finally get in?
Well, we're going to go over all of that.
How about REO Speedwagon?
And we're going to test your musical knowledge. You're very good at picking out Neil Young, but can you pick out the next Rock Hall of Fame class?
Because they keep letting the rappers, and I'm not trying to not respond to what you're saying, but you know how I am about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because they keep letting the rappers in, and Kev, you're the music expert here. The last time I checked, rap is not rock and roll, and yet it seems like there's a whole bunch of really legendary rock and roll bands or artists
that aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Who would really be worthy of, I don't know, like Warren Zevon being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, who actually influenced people in the genre of rock and or roll, and yet they're not in. But every year it seems like we have R&B and rap artists going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Some rappers, you could say, have the rock and roll spirit.
Oh, sure, Kev, yes.
Does Taylor Swift have the rock and roll spirit?
No.
She's got something.
She dropped 15 new songs and a double album last night. It's called The Tortured Poets Department, The Anthology.
Oh, you should have called it The Tortured Listener Department.
It's her 11th album, and she's already broken records. It was leaked online, and it was already the most downloaded album before it was even released.
Okay, so I've had this theory for quite a while, and Kev, I've always been kind of hesitant to say it out loud, but Kev supported me on this, and so I'm going to run it by you and see if you agree with me about this. You know how in the Batman movies, and this is probably true for more of the kind of the early cartoony movies, but it is kind of true even in some of the later, more gritty Batman-esque movies, how the characters in the Batman movies, they're clearly human beings. They're clearly supposed to be like legitimate human beings, but there's something that's just off about them, like how they're not I mean, clearly, like, the Joker is not a normal human, but I'm saying even the sort of like police officers and stuff, all the characters, there's just something slightly off about their humanity. Like,
do you think there's something off about her?
Well, what I was going to say was that clearly because the early Batman movies are largely, you're supposed to get the perception it is a comic book, but they tried to get away from that in the later movies. But it's like there's just something slightly off. Where you're like, I know this is a human, but there's something about these people that is different than normal humans. Taylor Swift has that thing about me about I don't know if it's
not human,
if it's her personality or the way she's presented or like you
manufactured.
Yeah, but it's like there's something just off about her where it's like you would fit in perfect in a Batman movie because clearly you are a human being, but your whole persona and aura is just slightly off from normal humanity.
Would she be a villain in a Batman movie?
No, I just think she would be a character. Like she would be a perfect character. How it's just there's something off about her that it's like, why are you not a normal human? And take away the screeching and the audible wailing and how every song is about how some man did her wrong, even though she's 34 years old and has been at this for 15 or 16 years now, and she still can't get or keep a man, and it's always everybody else's fault but hers. I'm not even talking about the music itself. I'm just talking about her. Like there's something just slightly off that would fit in perfect in a Batman movie.
She said that she's written so much tortured poetry over the past 2 years. She wanted to share it all, and this is an installment. She said, and now the story isn't mine anymore. It's all yours. Okay.
Wait, time out. She's written what did she say? So much what?
Tortured poetry.
Lady, you are worth $9 gajillion. You have access to anything and everything humanity has to offer. You're so freaking rich, you could build one of those Bezos or Elon Musk rockets and go up into space. And you're going to tell some person making $50,000 a year who's struggling to buy their medicine or pay for their gas or pay their property taxes, you have the audacity to talk about your tortured poetry?
So the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology, is out today. It actually dropped last night at midnight. The first song is called Fortnight, and it features Post Malone.
It's called what, and it features who?
It's called Fortnight, and it features Post Malone.
Oh, so now she's sucking other people into her cavalcade of misery. Is that what you're telling me? It's no longer enough for her to do it on her own. She's got to find a new area by which, you know what she is?
What?
Remember the movie Aliens, where the thing, it was like hosts and it would feed on other people? That's what Taylor Swift is doing now. She's taking her misery and she's feeding on other artists. This what's his name?
Post Malone.
Post Malone. Oh, he's the guy with the tattoos, isn't he? Yes.
He seems like a very likable guy.
Yeah, why
too,
would he be hanging out with her? That's what I'm saying. The alien
because
thing.
he likes money too.
It's inside of her. It's inside of Post Malone now. It's desperately trying to get out.
Okay, so this may or may not be a good time to talk about her possible future brother-in-law. Jason Kelce lost his Super Bowl ring in a giant pool of Skyline chili.
After that event, we went right to Jason lost his ring, where we had a full vat of Skyline chili. This is actually technically a three-way. It's not just Skyline chili. There's spaghetti in there, cheese, and chili. The video does not do justice just how disgusting this was.
I had to get away from that corner.
I went to Skyline twice over the weekend. I love Skyline chili. This chili had been sitting out for like some time period.
It smelled so bad in that part of the arena.
Mixed into that chili were socks with make-believe rings, and then there's actually only one real ring in there, which was my Super Bowl ring, that they had to try and find. One in each pool. But there was an unfortunateness. As you guys know, this game existed because I continually lose my Super Bowl ring. And I don't even know if Travis still knows this, but I legitimately lost my Super Bowl ring in this event. They could not find it. This is Jets Jake searching through the chili to try and find the sock that had my Super Bowl ring in it. We have still yet to find it.
Okay.
That's too bad.
So you get a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And he lends it for a contest in a vat of Skyline chili and loses it.
And we hear this, talk about this all the time. There really are just two existences out there now, right? Like the life these people are leading, whether it is him or Taylor Swift or whoever, and then the lives that regular people are leading. I mean, they're not even. I don't even know what the hot take on that is, other than I guess you have so little respect
For your Super Bowl
for
ring?
your Super Bowl ring.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of
what you worked hard for.
Like you would put that in a safety deposit box, under, glass, double pane bulletproof glass. I don't know. I mean, you just hear that though, and you go, man, I think
that's what's important to him.
Yeah, I think if I had a Super Bowl ring, I'd really work to preserve that. But if your life is so great and you're just kind of so willy-nilly about your existence and you have access to so many resources,
it doesn't matter.
I just feel like we're just living in two totally separate universes at this point. And, I mean, I guess that's okay. But why did you did the Kelseys and Taylor Swift in the same segment, and you did that deliberately to make me angry.
Do you want to talk about TikTok now?
Oh, my. You're done. Why?
Well, they've been talking about banning it unless, of course, they...
So they haven't banned it yet?
They haven't banned it yet, but it's getting closer and closer because listen to this. Now the TikTok ban legislation, it's being tied into the aid with Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Johnson plans to package the TikTok legislation with the aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan and send that to the Senate.
So of all the problems going on in this world, he's not tying it to the border though, right?
Nope.
No, he's not tying it to the border. He's tying it to aid to Ukraine.
Israel and Taiwan.
Okay, so all the problems going on in this country right now, and our representatives are focused on banning TikTok. Casey, let's just do a little question and answer here because you have the TikTok, correct? And I've told you my opinion of you having the TikTok. However, you are of sound mind. You are capable of understanding things and places and people around you.
For the most part.
You have not been victim to a power of attorney. You've not had a judge declare you incapacitated in any shape, form, or fashion?
Not yet.
So you know what you're doing on a daily basis, right? To a reasonable degree.
Yeah.
You know what TikTok is, right? You know China is stealing all of that information for everything you do on the TikTok. You're aware of all these things. Then what business is it of anyone else's if you want to give your information to China?
So TikTok has argued that the bill amounts, to First Amendment rights being violated.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to give your information to someone else, that is absolutely your prerogative as long as you're giving it away of your free will.
Don't you think it's interesting, though, that now they want to put it in with a foreign aid bill with Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan?
And isn't it interesting they didn't do that?
It's become like a big omnibus bill.
Well, and isn't it interesting they didn't do that with the border? Because you do that when it's something you really want passed. They're telling you what the priorities are. See, this is another example. All this stuff we talk about, you people may hate me. But gosh darn it, when it unfolds right in front of your face, even you in your quietest of moments, and I know you'll never say it out loud, have got to say, well, he was right again. Because this is what the Republicans do. They could get whatever they want. They've admitted, in our minds, we have to pass this foreign aid bill. So why don't we tie it to something important like getting spending under control or securing the southern border? If it must pass, if the belief is the foreign aid bill must pass, why don't we get something really good that'll actually help society out of it? No, they don't do that. Because they don't actually want to help society. What do they want? They want TikTok banned, and they don't want TikTok banned because they're concerned about China. They want TikTok banned because of the amount of money these politicians get from these other social media corporations, and they're doing their bidding by taking out one of their competitors.
All right, we're going to test your musical knowledge coming up, Rob. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, Israel hits back on Iran. Will we see more escalation? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Mortgage rates have lowered going into the spring selling season. Now is the time to act to maximize your equity. Mark Dietel has the plan and experience to sell your home fast and for maximum value this spring. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Crystal and Franklin had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I was moving to Kentucky and needed to move fast. I got the Mark Dietel marketing plan and was blown away. The plan worked. I got a full list price offer in the first weekend. Just like that, Mark and his team got it done. Call the agent I trust and recommend and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call
call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
You've seen Chuck Goodrich's ads. It's time to take the mask off and meet the real Chuck. Get rich. Goodrich allied himself with never-Trumpers and liberals who spent millions to defeat President Trump. And it turns out that Chuck Goodrich lobbied to give amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. Goodrich even bragged about his award as a top 100 woke CEO who hires employees based on race. In the legislature, Goodrich voted to bring critical race theory into our classrooms and to teach our children that America is a racist country. What did crooked Chuck get in return for siding with the liberals? Millions of earmarks. And a law that could put $40 million of our tax dollars into his business. Chuck Goodrich is just another corrupt and liberal sellout. He can't be trusted.
I am Victoria Sparks, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Victoria Sparks for Congress.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 free. Plus, free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Restrictions apply. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Chapters of this story take a whole month to tell. This is May. It starts with twists and turns on the IMS road course for the Sancio Grand Prix. Then PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying in the fight for the pole position. May continues with Indy's biggest party, Miller Lite Carb Day. And all roads lead to the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. May is yours. May is ours. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
Michelin's up to $200 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Michelin's and save up to $200 more. See store for details.
I don't even know who most of these people are.
You don't think?
I mean, I guess I maybe know some of them, but who the hell is Eric B. and Rakeem?
I'm not familiar with that one either. All the rest I'm familiar with.
Sounds like some local act you'd see at the American Legion.
But would they sell out the Vogue?
I don't even know who they are.
That's the question. Okay, so we're talking about the Rock Hall of Fame nominees. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, by the way. So every year they come out with this list of nominees, and then they open it up to fans to vote on who they think should be inducted. And then a few months later, they reveal who will actually be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that is coming up on Sunday. They're going to reveal out of all these nominees who will actually get in.
And it becomes like any other Hall of Fame where the very early classes are very good, and for the first 10 or 15 years this was fine, and then it just got ridiculous. I think in the late 80s rather was when they started the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was 88 or something like that, maybe a little earlier than that. And it was, the usual Dylan, the Rolling Stones, Beatles. I mean, all those people went in. But by the early 2000s, then they start trying. The show itself becomes the thing rather than the actual nomination, and then they start getting squirrely. And now you get these R&B artists and rappers, and I mean, metal bands, and it's like these people aren't. I mean, the only ones I saw on this list who I would say of all these people, there's 3 that I would say yes. Frampton, Just for Frampton Comes Alive, one of the all-time greatest rock albums ever produced. Foreigner, like real Foreigner, like with Lou Gramm and Mick Jones Foreigner.
Yeah.
And probably Cher, I would think, would qualify because of the impact Sonny and Cher had. And then obviously she went on to have a kind of an extensive career that was pretty strong after that. So I would say there are 3 of the people on this list who I would say yes to.
Who should make it. Okay, so to be eligible for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, an artist's first commercial recording must have been released 25 years prior to nomination.
But
So
like Sinead
all of the-
O'Connor's on this. Sinead O'Connor, other than that one song where she's wailing inaudibly, nothing compares. Can anybody name another Sinead O'Connor
She
song?
didn't even write that one. That was written by Prince.
Yeah, that's
so,
what my point.
So she should be inducted for a song that she didn't write. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. It's easy to sit here and talk about all these artists and their songs. It's a different thing when you listen to them. You might come away with a different opinion.
Oh, Ozzy Osbourne's on here too. You probably got to say yes to him. don't
Okay,
you?
so let's see if you can quickly identify all of these artists.
Is it
and
Rakim and
thumbs
Gerald or whatever
up
their name
or
was?
thumbs down if you think that they should make it in. You ready?
All right.
All right, here we go.
That's Mary J. Blige, right? Is that?
That's Mariah Carey.
That's Mariah Carey. Okay. No.
No? Doesn't
No.
belong. Okay.
That's Frampton.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He's one you think he should go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's Foreigner.
Mhm.
That's good Foreigner. So that's a yes.
Okay.
That's Cool in the Gang. No.
Doesn't belong?
No. I mean, I've got a very high bar for my Hall of Fame. That's Sinead O'Connor, right? Billboard says she's like the favorite to get in. How is that? How is that?
Posthumously.
That's Ozzy Osbourne. That's a yes.
Mm-hmm. So you're definitely leaning the rock guys need to get in.
Well, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I mean, am I way off? Is that Lenny Kravitz?
Yes.
No, he's not. Can we stop for a second? People are gonna get mad at me.
Pause it.
People are gonna get mad at me on this. Lenny Kravitz to me is the most overrated person in the history of ever. Like,
you think so?
Women love him because he's a beautiful man. And look,
Yeah.
I'm not disputing
Yeah.
that Lenny Kravitz is a very well-assembled human being. But in terms of actual tangible success that you're like, other than the Fly Away, he did the Fly Away song. That was a big
he did
hit.
Fly Away. He did a version of American Woman.
That's right. He did do that.
His
Okay.
first song, Let Love Rule, was really good.
Okay, so you know our rule. You got to have two, or you got to have three to be a megastar.
All right, well, he's got Are You Gonna Go My Way, Fly Away.
I've never heard of that first song, though.
Let Love Rule, the one that I mentioned?
No.
Or Fly Away?
No, Fly Away. I've heard Fly Away. And he did American Woman. I've heard of those two. Were
And
big
then
hits.
Are You Gonna Go My Way was another big one.
I never heard of that song.
The one we just played? Not
Do you
familiar
think he
with
should
that?
be in? Yeah, I know you.
Maybe not yet.
Oh, perfect. See,
Maybe
I'm
not
cover.
yet.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think there's other people that could be considered. All right, let's continue on. See if you can recognize these other ones.
Is that Oasis?
Yes.
Yes.
In or out?
No.
Out.
No.
I agree with you.
That's Cher. She would be in.
Yep.
Who the hell is that?
Jane's Addiction.
Jane's Addiction. Wait, they're on the list. Jane's Addiction? That's Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews?
Yeah.
He's not rock and roll, is he?
Yeah.
That's Mary J. Blige.
Yes.
Yes.
She
No way.
even says her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I think this
Is that?
Are you familiar with this one?
Yeah, but is that
Sade.
yeah.
I don't think you'll get this one.
Is that a Tribe Called Quest?
It is a Tribe Called Quest. Yes. You did pretty well on
I got more than I
recognizing-
thought I would get.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Sade and Oasis. Dave Matthews Band won the fan vote back in 2020, and they didn't get in.
But hey, Styx isn't in, Casey.
They'll announce all the people that are being inducted on Sunday. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
She isn't working for us, so who is Victoria Spartz working for in Congress? Victoria Spartz said she'd fight the radical left, but spoke in defense of the squad's Ilhan Omar and refused to officially condemn Rashida Tlaib after her hateful, anti-Semitic statements. While there's an invasion on our southern border, Spartz votes to send $40 billion of our tax dollars to Ukraine. Victoria Spartz also says she stands with President Trump. Truth is, Spartz stated it's irrelevant who the president is and helps the Biden administration pass their agenda. Chuck Goodrich is an America First conservative. Chuck built a business that hires and builds American, and Chuck voted to end sanctuary cities. Chuck puts our national defense first by banning any Chinese presence near our military and National Guard bases. Chuck Goodrich fights for our values, voting to protect female sports and keep biological males from competing against young women in Indiana. Vote Chuck Goodrich for Congress. Paid for by Go With Chuck Goodrich.
I'm Chuck Goodrich, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Let Bill Estes put you behind the wheel of the powerhouse brands that define American toughness: Ford, Chevy, Ram, and GMC.
Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on all GMC Sierra 1500s, plus $2,000 customer cash on 6.2-liter Sierra Denali's.
Unleash the power of the road with Bill Estes Trucks. Find the location near you and see their inventory at BillEstesTrucks.com.
Financing for well-qualified buyers. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. See dealer for details.
It's the final days of Diamonds Direct Spring Sale. This is your last chance to get 20% off store-wide. Plus, book an appointment and you'll get an additional $100 off your purchase. You don't want to miss this. 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. And a huge selection of the latest styles with in-store designer appearances. 20% off ends this Sunday. Details at DiamondsDirect.com.
A broken border, corrupt politicians, and the rise of communist China. We don't need leaders who will surrender. We need America First conservative Mike Speedy. Mike Speedy endorses President Trump and will join him to fix our border once and for all. Mike Speedy will fight the woke leftists to guarantee life and liberty. Speedy has a track record of fighting and winning. Mike Speedy is the only candidate in the GOP primary with both an A+ rating from the NRA and the endorsement of Indiana Right to Life. Speedy is the conservative who beat the abortion lobby, voting to make Indiana pro-life in the post-Roe v. Wade era. Mike Speedy also voted to ban sanctuary cities and voted to guarantee our right to constitutional carry. Mike Speedy, America First conservative for Congress. Vote Republican Mike Speedy in Indiana's 6th Congressional on or before May 7th.
I'm Mike Speedy. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Speedy for Congress.
That moment when you realize you have a serious air conditioner issue. A real strip down to your skivvies, no one sleeping tonight, head in the freezer fail party. But fear not. There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Broad Ripple Service Experts keep you cool with $50 off any repair.
Want to chill? There's an expert for that.
Call Broad Ripple Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Watch new episodes of Your Money unfold every day on Lake City Bank Digital. Binge watch your budgets, monitor payments, and set savings goals. Learn more at lakecitybank.com/digital. Member FDIC.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Coming up in 2 minutes, it was a fight that led to his wife's death, why a man in Boone County is pleading guilty. Plus, Donnie Burgess reports on where you can give your donation to a fallen officer. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
He's back in court, but former President Trump doesn't think he should be. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This is a rigged trial. It's coming from the White House.
He said that right before going into the courtroom, and then he posted on Truth Social over and over that he should have immunity from prosecution from acts taken while president, referring to the federal 2020 election indictment. The Supreme Court will consider his immunity claim at a hearing next week. In this criminal case in New York,
today's goal is to get the 5 alternate jurors to pick the full 18-member panel to hopefully kick off opening arguments in this trial on Monday. And as far as the jury that has already been picked, they say that they will judge this case fairly and impartially.
Fox's Eric Shawn outside the court, the former president charged with falsifying records in 2016 payments to keep an alleged affair quiet. A new Fox News poll has him leading President Biden in Georgia by 6 points. It's a 3-point Trump edge in Michigan. They are tied in 2 other battleground states, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. No comment from Israel yet after its strike on Iran. retaliating for a weekend attack. Iranian media has been downplaying it, saying explosions heard where air defense is taking down drones. Israel gave the U.S. advance notice, but Secretary of State Antony Blinken says at a G7 meeting of our allies in Italy, there was no American involvement. Fox's Tanya J. Powers reports.
It's also focused on the situation in Gaza. He says G7 countries urged the, quote, rapid implementation of Israel's humanitarian assistance commitments, including more aid and better crossings.
We've seen important steps over the last couple of weeks, with more crossings opening, more aid getting in, more aid getting around. But we need to see sustained results.
Blinken also says
the G7 is also very clear in its unwavering support for Ukraine, faced with aggression from Russia.
The House could vote this weekend to approve new military aid to Ukraine, though some Republicans oppose that, threatening to oust Speaker Mike Johnson for even holding a vote. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A guilty plea to avoid something worse. Radar is clear. It's partly cloudy and 51 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A man in Boone County is pleading guilty to the killing of his wife 2 years ago. You may recall when Andrew Wilhoit was arrested and charged with murder of Nikki Wilhoit. Court documents say that she died after he threw her out the front door of their house during a heated argument, during which she fell and fatally hit her head. With the guilty plea, prosecutors are dropping the murder charge, and Wilhoit will be sentenced to manslaughter. Scammers will try and take advantage of any situation, even remembering the life of a fallen officer.
Which is why the Hendricks County Sheriff's Office has set up the Real Deal to honor the life of Deputy Fred Fissler. The County Sheriff's Office has established an official link to Fissler's donation with the Central Indiana Police Foundation. That's where you can send a donation or check, which goes to Fissler's wife and 2 children. Deputy Fissler died in a crash in Plainfield earlier this week. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
It's the unofficial national holiday for celebrating marijuana. Pot is still completely illegal in Indiana, and Keith Johnson with Indiana NORML says at this point it's not facts that are keeping it illegal, it's stigma from years of anti-pot propaganda.
That's a very difficult stigma to overcome, to be quite honest, and a lot of, especially the older generation, kind of still clings to that.
But he says that stigma is dying off. Talking to Indy Politics, the polling data there shows that a majority of conservative voters now support legalizing pot. Nike is signing a new Indiana Fever player, Caitlin Clark, to a huge endorsement deal. It's said to be worth 8 figures. And professional eater Joey Chestnut took on another eating challenge this week in Lafayette. He stopped by DT Kirby's on Thursday to try and conquer the bar's recipe for disaster challenge. Chestnut horked down an appetizer, a hot dog and chips, a burger and fries, and a sandwich and onion rings. The goal of the challenge is to consume all of that food in 45 minutes. Chestnut did it in just 13 minutes. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
How would you like to get a 13% bonus when you invest your money? Not only do you get a 13% bonus, but you'll also get an annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years. Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. Discover how you can get an upfront 13% bonus plus a competitive annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years.
Learn more from the retirement guy that we trust, Bill Demery here in Indy. Call him today, 317-648-5120. This was such a no-brainer for me. Why wouldn't you do this? You get an upfront 13% bonus, plus a competitive annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years. And it's backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 648-5120. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Damon's Lawn and Garden on West Rockville Road.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, April April 19th, 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. So do you remember, I believe it was last week, we had Nikki Kelly on the program from Indiana Capital Chronicle, and we were talking about those billboards from Recenter, Indiana. And the billboards were featured in Fort Wayne, South Bend, and Bloomington, and they were urging Democrats to vote in this spring's Republican primary.
Yeah, so they claim their goal is to get more moderate candidates on both sides of the aisle. However, if you look at where their money has gone and you look at their goals, it certainly appears to get the most Democrat-esque Republicans elected and actually elect Democrats.
So last week, they also put billboards up in Indianapolis, Evansville, and Maryville, and now they have come out and endorsed a candidate for governor.
So okay, before we tell everybody who it was, let's just see everybody riding around doing commerce and making the world work today. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and thanks for going to work, even though our government really incentivizes you to do as little work as possible these days. You're making society work. Okay, if you were of these 6 candidates, so you got Braun, you got Doden, you got Chambers, you got Suzanne Crouch, you got Curtis Hill, and you got Rittenhour. Of those 6 people, which candidate, in your mind, as you're going down the road right now, do you think the Democrats would most want to see elected governor of the state of Indiana?
Interesting question.
This was so obvious to me, and it's actually ended up being the person that they endorsed. I mean, this was just like, well, duh.
Yeah, they haven't endorsed Brad Chambers.
Of course they have. Yeah. So that should tell you everything you need to know if you're going to go vote in the Republican primary, that the people, this Democrat, they can say whatever they want. I think they gave a bunch of money to Destiny Wells. I think that came out in one of these stories. So like the Republican, the Democrats, or this Democrat leaning related whatever group
PAC,
would most like to see elected is Brad Chambers.
Right. So they said they weren't sure that they were going to endorse anybody, but they decided to make this decision. And they said that he is a veteran businessman focused on boosting the state's economy, thus improving the lives of Hoosiers.
And look, every year we hear about boosting the state's economy, and I don't know about you, Casey, my life ain't getting no better. So whatever they're doing, it doesn't seem to be working. But it makes sense that the Democrats or Democrat-related groups would want Brad Chambers. Why? Because Brad Chambers is an extension of Eric Holcomb. And let's face it, Eric Holcomb lost hundreds of thousands of conservative votes in 2020. Hundreds of thousands of people walked away from the Republican Party and Eric Holcomb to vote for Donald Rainwater. Yet Holcomb still won whatever it was, 55% of the vote, despite losing all those conservative votes, because Democrats crossed over to vote for Eric Holcomb. There were tons of people who had Biden and Holcomb signs in their yards because look at what Holcomb's done over 7.5 years. He's grown government every year. He's raised taxes every single year. He shut the state down. He forced people to wear masks. He had a meet and greet with the domestic terrorist. I mean, look at all of it. Eric Holcomb is a great Democrat governor. That makes total sense to me that the Democrats would want Holcomb's right-hand man, Brad Chambers, to be the governor of the state of Indiana.
So early voting is going on right now, and this year's primary is May 7th. Back in 2020, in the race for governor, only 24% of registered voters cast ballots in the primary.
What was the number?
24%.
That was in 2020?
Yep.
Okay.
And this year, Indiana ranks second to last for voter turnout.
Well, let's get to both of those things. So number one, I think the voter participation is going to be equally low this year because what compelling reason is there to go vote unless you have some hotly contested state Senate or state house race? And by the way, again, in those state house and state Senate races, you must vote against all incumbents. If you vote for any person who is currently in office, you are facilitating the problem because every one of those Republicans at the State House has voted to screw you over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't care if that person is in the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis Club or bakes cookies at Christmas or is a nice guy or coaches soccer or whatever. If you vote for an incumbent, you are voting for your taxes to continue to go up in the state of Indiana. But unless you have one of these hotly contested House or Senate races, what compelling reason is there to go vote? This governor's race is a total snooze fest. The Senate race, they kicked the interesting guy, Rust, off the ballot. So Banks wins by default. The only thing that people should be voting on, and if people listen to this show and this radio station, they probably are, is the delegates. The most important thing you're going to vote on is the delegates to the state convention, because they'll pick the lieutenant governor, which is going to be the most important thing. We give people, for the most part, zero reason to vote in this state. We make it hard. Not in terms of voting, but we make it hard in terms of being able to run. We make it hard and able to have, for people to have viable competition. And by the way, look at this Recenter Indiana thing, in which they are literally. So remember the thing when they kicked Rust off the ballot was you heard from the Republicans, ballot integrity, and it means something to be a Republican, and that brand has meaning, and we have to protect what that is. The primaries are literally such a joke that a Democrat can just walk up to the election clerk and go, I'd like a Republican ballot, please. But yet we're led to believe that if John Rust had been on the ballot, somehow election integrity or the entire electoral process would have crumbled at its feet because some guy who had only voted in one Republican primary was eligible to run for public office. I mean, the whole thing. We make people not want to vote. We make it hard to run. We give crappy-ass candidates. People never follow through on their bull crap most of the time. And so why would people go vote?
Isn't it interesting that some of the down ballot votes are more interesting, more entertaining, more important than the top line?
There is one race that is really going to be interesting to me. And look, this guy could end up getting smoked, or he could end up making it close, or he might, by some chance, win. Rod Bray has a challenger down there in Martinsville. And, of course, Rod, one of the Flanders boys, the pro tem of the Senate, who has done a terrible job helping run the state of Indiana, along with Todd Houston. And there's a guy named Jay Hart who is running against Rod Bray. And if you live in that area, everybody should totally vote for Jay Hart. I don't know Jay Hart. I've talked to him a couple times, but it doesn't matter. Rod Bray's got to go, and he has done a horrible job running this state. And I don't know whether this Jay Hart guy would be good or bad or indifferent. Don't know. Couldn't be any worse than Rod Bray. So Rod Bray, it's very important everybody realize Rod Bray does have a challenger, and if you want to send a message, booting that guy out would be a great way to start. But there's no reason to vote for the most part for any of these people. Like my ballot, Casey, and I hate this. Every vote I'm going to make is a protest vote. There's not one person other than the delegates that I'm voting for. So none of the traditional offices, my state house vote or U.S. House vote for Bookwalter is a vote against Jim Baird. My state House vote is going to be a vote against Jeff Thompson. I don't even know anything about the guy running against Jeff Thompson. Don't know, was going to look it up, don't even care. I dislike the job Jeff Thompson has done that much that I'm voting for the competition. I can't vote for state Senate because they're both awful. My governor's vote is just solely a protest vote that they kicked Rittenhour off the stage. I don't feel like any of those candidates have actually earned my vote. And so, like, what other than I just feel an obligation to go vote, and I feel an obligation to elect these delegates, most people just wouldn't even go vote.
So right now at WIBC.com, you can take the GOP primary voter survey. And I did that myself, and it actually made me do some research on my own.
Oh, yeah. Like who you're...
Who I'm going to vote for, because right now I've got Andre Carson.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
hey, you got Dishonest Gabe.
I do.
It's trying to visit your primary.
He's in my primary. So I actually had to go look up because I haven't really, except for Honest Gabe, which I'm seeing him for the wrong reasons. Like, who actually is running in my district? So I had to go do some research.
Boy, yeah, you talk about just a group of turds you got to choose from.
Right.
I mean, I feel bad in Hendricks County. I'm like
I said,
Casey's looking at me right now going, really? You're going to complain about your choices?
Come see who I get to pick.
I got a guy who's making up donors.
I know, exactly. And the scary part about that is that he's got some of the most widely known name recognition.
Yeah, it's all bad.
But for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's just, isn't it amazing to you, Casey, that you have still all the crap that's come out on Dishonest Gabe Whitley, the donors, he made up the thing about the veterans group. I mean, it just continues. He just keeps doubling and tripling down on just more bizarre stuff. The Marion County GOP has still not said a single solitary word about this. There is a big part of me that wants them to be stuck with him in the fall. There's a huge part of me.
I don't want to be stuck with him.
Well, I know, and I feel bad for you, but I think the idea that the state party and Marion County GOP would be stuck with that guy, and I also think it would further the investigations into him to find out just how much crap the guy's actually pulled, because that's how they got Santos, if you remember. Look, if Santos had lost, none of that probably would have ever come out, but because he won. Now, nobody is beating Andre Carson. It's going to be 90-10 or 80-20 or whatever. But think about that's how inept the Marion County party is you have a guy that is making up donors. He's making up veterans groups that are endorsing him, and they just sit back and don't say a single solitary word about it, and they might be okay if that guy's the Marion County GOP. And it sucks because this is why our city's in the condition it's in, is it because of the complete ineptitude of the Marion County. How do you think you're ever going to win a mayor's race? How do you think you're ever going to take back the city council when you got this guy out there and everybody knows what he is and you don't hear a word from these people?
Nope, not a word. And I had never even heard of the other people running.
This is why there's a chance he could win.
Like, I hadn't even heard of them. I wasn't getting any mailers or anything.
There is a chance that a guy who is under very serious investigation from the IED and the FEC, and there could be a lot more that comes out, could be their nominee for Congress. And the state party and the Marion County party just seem content to allow that to happen.
They're okay with that.
Unbelievable.
Well, if you'd like to voice your opinion, you can do that at WIBC.com with the GOP primary voter survey. We would love to hear from you. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Let's talk about the knock on you.
Tony Katz.
COVID comes, the state locks down, you are there right next to Governor Eric Holcomb, and you say nothing.
Get beyond the talking points.
Let me give you the story about you in case you didn't know this. No one knows who you are, sir.
With the GOP gubernatorial candidates.
You're a nice guy. Literally no one has any idea. How do you overcome that? Can you outspend Mike Braun? Because that's what you're going to have to do to win this thing.
Stream all the videos at WIBC.com.
This week is the official grand opening of Miss M's today through Sunday. Miss M's will have giveaways, and it's 20% off in the nursery. You got to see Miss M's display of tropicals. The grand opening sale at Miss M's Home and Garden now through Sunday. State Road 135, just south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville. Follow them on social media or visit MissMsHomeandGarden.com. That's MissMsHomeandGarden.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
Eligible members can select a plan now. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Your Indiana Pacers have clinched their spot in the NBA playoffs.
Lee Smith in the lane, pounded.
And now it's time for you to bring the most revved up energy to Gainbridge Fieldhouse as we look to protect home court.
Turner delivers. Milwaukee can go home now.
Get revved up for a weekend of playoff basketball. Tickets now on sale for Pacers Bucks on Friday, April 26th at 5:30 and Sunday, April 28th at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/playoffs.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Now offering 50% off all products, plus 20 months, no interest, no payments. Call now or go to bwindow.com.
Trust me.
You might be getting something you weren't expecting in the mail, especially if you have a high school senior coming up. Indiana high school seniors can expect to see a letter in the mail, and it's from the Indiana Pre-Admissions Your Path to College program.
Oh, that sounds uplifting.
Yeah, these are letters that are getting sent out to seniors to notify them of which Indiana college or university they qualify for, and this is based on their junior year GPA and SAT scores. Now, this letter doesn't mean that the student is automatically admitted to any of these colleges that are listed. It's just a way to help Hoosier students figure out their options and education after high school.
So basically they're saying, if you, based on your performance, here is what we think you would be eligible for.
Yes.
It's like a guidepost.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing. Some of the state's biggest campuses like IU Bloomington, Purdue, and West Lafayette, they're not participating in this pre-admission program. Doesn't mean the students can't apply. It just means they're not going to be on the list of the schools that...
So who's not participating?
IU and Purdue.
Hey, the two schools you're most likely to go to, they're not in on this, but this is going to be a great resource for you.
So this past September, the high schools could opt out or opt in for this pre-admission process, and about 80% of high school seniors across the state last year received it. This year, they're looking at more 100% participation in this. But not only does it come with this list of schools that says, hey, this is how well you did. Have you considered applying for this college? It also helps the students research how they can apply and fill out their FAFSA forms.
So basically they're moving people towards, once again, they're trying to get people into 4-year degree programs. I mean, we continue to push kids towards that, when the reality is, if you look at the economy now, we should be pushing kids away from that and into skills and into trades, because they're going to have a much better chance of earning a much better living much quicker than they would if indeed they're attempting to achieve a 4-year degree.
Do you think that this is a way by the state, because this is a state organization that is doing this, to try and keep these high school seniors, graduates here in Indiana, as they, we hear all the time from the Holcomb administration trying to grow the economy in Indiana? Keep them here in college, they'll graduate, they'll stay here.
Yeah, but I think one of the things we've talked about, there is and Abdul has talked about this for years, there's a skills gap. We have a skills gap in our society. But that doesn't mean we have a college gap. We have an economy in which we have jobs that people don't have skills for. And a whole bunch of those skills are not found in a 4-year university. And it comes back to the radical change we saw. And look, it kind of started in my generation, where we moved people out of being encouraged to make things, moved people out of being encouraged to produce things. And we started judging people based on if they had what was oftentimes a meaningless piece of paper. Now, look, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a rocket scientist, or there's many, many careers where, a specific area of study, you need that 4-year degree, or that, 2-year 2-year extension, with continuing studies, or a master's degree, or whatever it might be. But there are so many jobs out there, and you know this, Casey, where it's college degree required, where there's no reason.
Right. I feel like that's just the first pass that many HR departments do, just so they can narrow it down. It makes it easy for them. Whoops, sorry, you didn't meet the requirements.
I remember having this conversation with my dad when I was in high school about this exact thing, because I did not want to go to college. I went to college begrudgingly. I actually took a year off in the middle of college. It took me 6 years to get out of college. Now, I did very well in college. I made great grades and was in the dean's list, but I never really saw the point in it. And I've been proven largely correct about that it wasn't something I needed to do. But one of the things my dad told me, and I think in his generation, I think it was true, which was he said, well, college shows prospective employers your ability to stay with something. And I think that was true when there was actual meaning behind college degrees. Like, I think the generation before mine, they didn't just let anybody stay in. They didn't just try to keep everybody in. But there's such financial incentive now to keeping people in universities that they cater to keeping you in rather than actually teaching you something and preparing you for the next level. So my point in all this, I don't think college shows that you stick with anything anymore. I just think it shows they stuck with you in many cases.
There were around 244,000 students who were enrolled in Indiana's colleges and universities, both undergraduate and graduate schools last year.
I wonder, now obviously it's changing because the government is just paying off or forgiving or canceling everyone's debt. But I wonder how long it takes the average person to pay off their student loan debt. I wonder what that number is. Like, again, it took me, one of the reasons it took me 6 years to get out of college is I paid cash the entire way. I was a professional part-time student. I went in the summer, I took 4 classes a semester because I was working. But I wonder if you're a person, because you probably racked up more than just the classes itself. There's rent if you traveled, there's room and board, there's all of these sort of things. How long that takes somebody to pay that back. And when they get done paying it back, again, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, you're going to come out okay in the end. But how many of those people
think it's worth it?
Like, look at Kurt Darling. He didn't need anything he got at Indiana State to be one of the best newscasters in all of Central Indiana.
Is that true, Kurt?
Let's just say I could be doing this without a college degree. Let's put it that way.
The news with Kurt is next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Liberals have quit on America.
We have a secure border.
They'll deny it while they throw away the America we built together.
I'm telling the American people that we're going to get control of inflation.
It's no accident they let Indianapolis burn, or why our border overflows. Jefferson Shreve, he fights back. He's conservative, pro-police, strong border, so he gets hit like this.
Jefferson Shreve, Trump-style politics trashing our city.
And what's more, Shreve takes no lobbyist money, owes no one, and can't be bought. So to them, Shreve is the enemy. Defend our country from the left, the elites, the ones who've been bought and sold. Defend it with a fighter who can't be bought. For law, order, and a secure border, he's Jefferson Shreve for Congress.
I'm Jefferson Shreve, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Shreve for Congress.
Well, Cody was 24 years old, and he had a big sense of humor. Always liked to make people laugh.
Dennis DeMoss of Reith Riley Construction's son Cody was killed May 9th, 2014, while working in the Cone Zone.
Well, it was a normal day. Get dressed, drink coffee, and my phone rang. It was about 5:30. It was one of the workers on the road. Cody's been in an accident. He didn't make it. Someone come through the construction zone and hit 2 of our guys. I hung the phone up. My wife's standing right beside me, and our daughter, she was standing there. The hardest part was to tell them right then that our son just was dead. All of our people that's out there, they are moms and dads and brothers and sisters, and we want to go home too. We're not out there to inconvenience people. We're trying to make it better for everybody. Give us some space, let us do our work, and we'll be out of your way and move on.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Focusing on all fronts, it's mostly cloudy and 50 degrees downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Several world leaders met today to discuss what's next as Israel launched a counterattack on Iran last night. Fox's Tanya J. Powers reports on what Secretary of State Antony Blinken had to say.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says while the G7 is dealing with recent strikes between Israel and Iran, it's also focused on the situation in Gaza. He says G7 countries urge the, quote, rapid implementation of Israel's humanitarian assistance commitments, including more aid and better crossings.
We've seen important steps over the last couple of weeks, with more crossings opening, more aid getting in.
Blinken's comments followed the G7 meeting in Italy. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Lawyers in the Donald Trump hush money trial will be selecting 6 alternates for the jury today. A 12-member jury has already been chosen for the trial, which could begin Monday. The former president is accused of falsifying records to cover up hush money payments to an adult film star before he was elected in 2016. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Damon's Garden Center has endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, hanging baskets, plus garden and landscape supplies, and a friendly, helpful staff at Damon's on West Rockville Road.
Hello, friends. It is Rob for my friends at the Bath Authority. You know, it is spring, and maybe you're looking around that house going, man, we got to do some upgrades around this place. And one place you might want to start is in the bathroom. And if that's the case, the Bath Authority is the phone call for you because they do it all. Walk-in tubs, replacement showers, tub-to-shower conversions, and more. And the Bath Authority does it all with the highest quality bathroom remodeling products, along with a world-class customer experience. And, of course, they got this incredible deal going on right now. If you call today, 317-532-5711, 317-532-5711. Schedule your totally free in-home estimate today. No obligation with it. Like I said, totally free. You're going to get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Yes, that's correct. Call today, 317-532-5711. Schedule free in-home estimate, and the Bath Authority is going to take $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus offer you 36 months of interest-free financing. 317-532-5711. Tell them Rob sent you.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
This is where we turn the program over to you, and you give us your thoughts, questions, comments, smart remarks, whatever's on your mind. 317-684-8444. Interesting. Somebody called the hotline earlier this morning asking for the voicemail line.
Oh, how exciting.
They had the hotline,
yes,
but not the voicemail line.
Someone clearly paying attention and doing all sorts of research.
So that number, 317-684-8444. Okay, somebody wanted to call and kick us off with the Friday edition of your voicemails talking about the Indiana fever.
Hey, guys, have you priced out fever tickets lately? Almost every game is completely sold out. The only tickets available are resale. But even the nosebleed sections are going for $200. The floor seats are going for $2,000, and the midsection is going for anywhere from $385 to $750 a ticket. This is insane. She hasn't even played her first professional game yet, and these are Colts-level tickets. I'm not even a basketball fan. If I go to a Pacers game, I'm there for the pretzel and to watch the cheerleaders. But, we were tempted to try and get a couple tickets just go see what all the hype is about. But at this price, hell no. Let someone else pay it.
The hype is about Caitlin Clark.
Why is everyone into the fever this year?
I think you knew that. And I think those prices are going to continue to be high for this first season.
Yeah, but this would be my advice. And I consult a trained professional after hearing this advice.
Yeah.
It's just one guy spitballing some ideas. I think I'd wait on that if I were you, if you really wanted to go, because can you imagine if you're paying that? And I certainly hope this does not happen. But what if she gets injured?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what if
and doesn't even get in then? Yeah,
right. What if you've paid that? I mean, and let's face it, the newness factor of it. And you see this with concerts all the time when some big name artist goes on tour, that it's insane prices are out of the gate, and then by the time they're on their 30th night of the tour, and you can hit some Midwest city that may not be quite as strong, you can save a few bucks. By probably the 20th game, some of the newness factor will have worn off. Now, if she's averaging 30 points a game and, like Dr. doing reverse dunks like Dr. J, okay, then maybe you'd have to pay a little more. But if you ain't paying it now anyway, what difference does it make? I'd advise everybody who can't get in on the insanity, just hold off a little bit.
Just be patient.
And see what happens. And here's the thing, Casey, nobody's factoring this in. She could flop.
She could.
I certainly hope she doesn't. I certainly hope she's great for the city. She could flop. There are all sorts of number one picks in all sorts of sports who have all sorts of can't miss all over them. And then they do miss. It does happen. Great college games don't always translate to great professional games.
Did you see Tim McGraw was wearing her jersey? He was in concert.
I did.
Yeah,
see that, yes.
wearing the number 22.
My favorite thing about that is all the women just want to look at him, and then they were posting as though, I think it's so nice that he was. No, you wanted to post this because you like looking at him.
You
come
like
on.
his biceps.
Yeah,
You're not
now.
fooling anybody. Well, Fanatics has reported that all of her jerseys are sold out, but they will be getting more. They're going to re-up their stock. Okay, so there was that awkward exchange between Caitlin Clark and Indy Star columnist Greg Doyle.
Yeah.
And here's a call about that.
I feel like the way the media's making a molehill out of an anthill on this Greg Doyle thing. If Greg is married after his remarks he made to Miss Caitlin Clark the other day, that's just maybe his wife does what my wife does sometime. She has this big iron skillet that she hits the back of my head with to straighten me out. Now, she is on the Iron Skillet a Month program, and every time she hits me with one of those iron skillets, it seems like it makes a dent in it. Very unusual. I didn't know that could happen to iron skillets. But it does straighten me out, and it's a great tool for anybody that needs to straighten out their husbands. You, Casey, the wonderful ladies that are married to the folks on your staff there, all types of people. Highly recommended. As for Greg Doyle, Greg, next time rehearse your script a little bit better.
Iron Skillet of the Month Club. Apparently it's not working if it's of the month.
By the way, just for disclosure, my rule with the jerseys, right, Casey? That if you're a grown-ass person, you should not be wearing another
person's name on your back.
That applies to Caitlin Clark.
Does
too.
it?
So
is her name on the jersey? I know 22 is.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just put a 22 on there. People will figure it out.
What does that mean?
That totally applies here too. So, and look, I don't want to get into the battle of the sexes here, but if you're a grown-ass man and you're wearing a grown-ass woman's name on the back of your shirt,
is that better or worse?
That's
in your mind?
worse,
Why
Casey.
Why is that worse?
Like I said, I'm not going to get into the battle of the sexes here, but it's worse.
Why is that worse?
It's all weird, Casey.
I would think that would be.
You're a grown-ass individual, and you're being
better.
subservient to another grown-ass individual. Now, again, kids, totally fine.
Don't you have an exception?
College kids. The exception is if it's someone you grew up as a child that was one of your heroes or whatever, then that's fine. So, like, if you were my age and you were wearing a Frank Thomas jersey and he was your childhood hero because you're capturing the nostalgia of your childhood. What I'm talking about is there's going to be some 40-something-year-old dude who's going to be wearing Caitlin Clark's name on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
And that's a party foul. I'm sorry. That's
you don't
just a party
think that
foul.
just shows that he's supporting women in sports?
No, he could wear a Fever shirt, and that's supporting women's in sports. He's not being subservient to another adult.
Okay, and you can't have a hero when you're a grown person. They have to be from your childhood.
Not another grown person.
Okay, I just want to know what the rules
Casey,
are.
when I was a kid, I loved Hulk Hogan because I believed that the earthquake splash actually put him in the hospital and he came back. As an adult, it's fake.
Yeah.
So we don't believe the same things, right? It's sports. It's fine. You want to support the team. That's okay. But don't wear another grown person's name on your back unless it was someone you grew up, idolizing or whatever the phrase is.
In regards to Hulk Hogan, you actually did the opposite. Like you could put on a skull cap, right, to try and be like him, and you did the reverse of that.
Yes, I put more hair in my head.
Right, exactly.
But like, for example, when I went to wrestling many years ago as an adult, I painted my face like the Ultimate Warrior and had the Ultimate Warrior shirt on.
I've seen pictures.
That's because he was my childhood hero. I'm exempted from that. I play by the rules that I set forth for others.
Okay.
I would not, for example, today, who's a modern wrestler? A modern wrestler would be, I would not be wearing a Roman Reigns t-shirt out somewhere. Why? Because I'm a grown-ass man. And he's a grown-ass man.
Okay. Good to know.
So I don't think these are unreasonable rules I'm setting forth. Do you?
I would wear a Caitlin Clark jersey. Yeah, for sure.
So
Show my
embarrassing.
support. No, I think it's supporting
So embarrassing.
rising tide raises all boats. I think it's supporting other women.
Kevin.
playing.
Yeah, I have a jersey of a deceased soccer player, Johan Cruyff.
When did he die?
I think he died in like the 70s.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. It's an old person.
So I can wear that,
It's older
right?
than you. That's fine. If the thing is older
Yeah.
than you, or you were a kid when the thing was happening, it's totally fine. You're paying homage to those who came before.
Okay, I
You're
get
wearing that Caitlin Clark jersey. You're just a bandwagon person.
Okay. All right. Another phone call. This one is about property taxes.
Hey, Casey and Rob. This is Lori. Appreciate your property tax conversation with Jim Merritt. I live in Indianapolis, and my property tax has doubled since I purchased my house 5 years ago, and I can assure you that my income has not doubled. I would like a state legislator to explain why the tax can't be based on what I paid for my house, because that's how I decided what I can afford. It's like I bought a Honda 5 years ago, but I'm now having to pay like my house is a Mercedes. Thanks for all you do and sticking up for the little guy.
Well, they can. They don't want to because, and this is our fault, and this is where we talked about you have to vote all the incumbents out. There are no good incumbents running. None. None of these people are your friends in the General Assembly. None of them have done anything for you. If you think that person likes you or cares about you, you're wrong, and if you vote for them, you're part of the problem. You have to vote out all of these incumbents. But the reason they do this, they could. Like, that's Rainwater's idea, right? Point of sale. You sell the house, you're making money, you pay the property tax, whatever number we come up with, win at the point of sale. But they don't want to do that because that's going to piss off the schools. Because the schools now are addicted to the money grab. Look at what we just started the show, first hour, with what's going on with Pike Township, which is super gross. Pike Township gets all this money that comes in during COVID, all this federal money. And instead of saying, hey, look, we're going to squirrel some of this away, we're going to do some one-time only stuff that we needed to do, whatever, however you delegate those funds, they hire a bunch of people and create a bunch of government.
Yep.
And then once the COVID money runs out, they go, well, shoot.
They want to keep the positions.
Well, yeah, we can't get rid of this government. So now that you have a tax referendum, if you live there, where they're going to try to raise your taxes. The legislators fear the schools more than they fear you. And they are not going to fix property taxes until you make them fix property taxes. This is the golden goose right now. They have figured out a way where no elected official actually has to take the heat for this and everybody can blame somebody else. Think about it on this discussion. Nobody ever accepts the blame for this. You have the local officials who say, well, it's the assessor's fault. She assessed your house. The assessor will say, well, I'm following the laws set by the state. The state will say, well, it's the assessor's fault. She assesses your house. Oh, and it's the county's fault and the towns and city's fault because they set your tax rate. It's just like the crime problem in Marion County, where the prosecutor points at the judge points at the prosecutor, the prosecutors point at the legislature. Everybody just keeps pointing at each other instead of somebody actually solving the problem.
Phone call about term limits and how we feel about that.
Quick question. What are your thoughts on term limits for Congress since yesterday when none of the Democrats showed up for the impeachment hearing on Mayorkas? I think that shows the ultimate slap in the face of the American people and just how the swamp works.
Yeah.
Well, I support term limits, but I think you could solve this issue without term limits. There's a couple things you could do. Number one, no pensions for people who serve in Congress. Government's not supposed to be a career. And if you look at Pence and Bouchon,
right,
who conveniently are quitting
right after they're eligible.
Right at the time that they're going to qualify. You think that's an accident? Look at Spartz, who backpedaled. She needs 2 more years to get in the pension program. Think that's an accident? No. Somebody wised her up to that, and she changed her tune. So if you get rid of the pension and the benefits that come with that, look, you go to Congress, you're being a congressman, you're a job, you get paid. I don't have a problem with that. But this idea that we pay these people forever based on if you served 3 years, or 3 terms, 6 years, that's ridiculous. Also, no insider trading. These people want these jobs because they can do stuff that if you or I do it, they go to prison. You cut away all that. You make them sell every stock. If you're going to run for Congress, you sell everything you have in your portfolio as it relates to the stock market and investments. These people wouldn't want to stay there anymore. It would fix itself. So you could get there by term limits, or you get there by choking off the benefits and the money. We have to find out how fat Hammer is.
All right, we'll do that. And it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnacast, we are coming to you live from Dallas. And honestly, we might just do the show from a Buc-ee's. That's just kind of the mood I'm in. Tune in here at 7 p.m. or the podcast anytime.
Are you ready to take control of your safety? Premier Arms is the place to consider, and they're more than just a gun store. Premier Arms is a community for empowered women dedicated to helping you find the perfect firearm. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. That's how I felt when I shopped at Premier Arms. I asked them a lot of questions, and you know what? They treated me with respect, and I know I'll be making another purchase soon. Premier Arms, they're in Brownsburg. They're also online at premierarms.com. Their phone number is 317-858-3030.
Guys, when she's ready, shouldn't you be ready too? There's good news. For 20 years, Boston Medical Group has delivered a simple and effective solution for ED, proven to work when all else has failed. It's ICP, also known as ED shots. ICP uses a custom blend of FDA-approved medications specifically formulated to restore healthy blood flow where you need it most. ICP works for 98% of men in just a few minutes, regardless of age or medical conditions. Previously acquired only by an in-person visit, our telemedicine platform now brings this virtually 100% effective solution to your doorstep nationwide. You can be ready for her with confidence. Call 800-940-2900. The first 100 patients will receive 10 extra doses of ICP medication for free when you sign up for treatment program today. Call 800-940-2900. That's 800-940-2900. Or visit bostonmedicalgroup.com.
On a map, the southern border is 1,000 miles away. But that's not how it feels to my family. I grew up in a blue-collar home in Richmond. My dad was a factory worker. He was laid off twice. Not because the factory was doing poorly, but because it was cheaper to move those jobs across the border. I'm Jameson Carrier. Today, it's not what's leaving across the border that's devastating our families, it's what's coming in. And once again, it's personal. My wife and I lost our son Joey to fentanyl, a tragedy that's become far too common. To President Biden, secure the border is just a talking point. But to our family, it's life and death. I'm Jameson Carrier. I'm a business owner, a native Hoosier, and a Trump Republican. And we can't wait another day to secure our border and put Americans first. I'm Jameson Carrier, and I approve this message.
Jameson Carrier for Congress. Paid for by Carrier for Congress, Inc.
Hello, everybody. It is Rob from my friends at Life Church. We hope you're having a great Friday, and one way you might have a great Sunday is by checking out my friends at Life Church. Yeah, over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church, and I think one of the big reasons for that is they are so warm and welcoming, and they make you feel right at home, like you're an individual, not a number. You can see it all for yourself. Life Church's campuses all across central Indiana, so it's super easy for you to find one. Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. And if you want to check it out from your own home, they've got great online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. Are you sick of all the fancy charts and investment mumbo-jumbo thrown at you to justify the Wall Street fees you're being charged? It's not the size of your nest egg that matters, but rather the income it can produce. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and star in a brand new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception. In this film, we traveled over 20,000 miles interviewing real Americans who have retired successfully with a great lifestyle and peace of mind. They share their stories on how they get more retirement income with the same dollar saved and the money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even the super wealthy are shifting money into this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better, stress-free retirement, call today to speak to a specialist and get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Retirement Deception. Call 888-659-0649. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free. So don't delay. Call right now, 888-658-0649. That's 888-659-0649.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles.
Well, pound for pound, he's one of the best in the business. Jason Hammer joining Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Happy Beer Sample Friday, everybody. And I brought you some tacos in today.
You must have a really big wallet because Taco Bell's expensive right now.
It is. I heard you guys talking about the donuts earlier, but I am a man of the people.
Yeah.
And Rob gave me a winning golf bet.
Yeah.
I cashed that ticket, so I said, you know what? I'm going to bring some food into you guys.
That's awesome.
You know, this is why Hammer is my favorite coworker, because Katz will buy breakfast for people, but only for the sales staff because he sees a path to fortune through them,
right,
and tells us to kiss off. Hammer, on the other hand, always thinking about the people he has to see each day.
Exactly.
Speaking of sales stuff, real quick before I waddle to the scale, only 15 tickets are left for Tales from the Track.
Oh, wow.
Presented by Relay Indiana, Hotel Tango providing the booze. It's our big event with Scott Dixon, Monday of race week. So if you got paid today, get your tickets right now. Only 15 tickets are left. It might sell out by the time we hit the air this afternoon.
And if you can't afford groceries this weekend, your wife will totally understand if you tell her it's because I got tickets to see Hammer and Nigel.
Yeah. They'll feed you at the event.
See, there you go. It's a break-even sort of proposition.
All right, so last week I weighed 240.4.
Yep.
I started this weight loss journey at 271. If I can't beat 240.4, I've got to put $5 into a virtual pot for Rob.
I size you up in the most non-sexual way possible each week, and I have gotten pretty good about being able to tell. I think you're down.
Whatever makes you sleep at night. Let's go.
Here he goes.
All right, here we go, Chubby.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go. Nice.
There we go.
It's pretty good.
With this kind of weight loss, maybe you will start thinking about me in a sexual way. 239.4. Wow. We're into the 230s now. We're down a pound from last week.
New level.
I was thinking about that driving in today. I thought, man, I've become so into Hammer's life. I can know each week whether he's losing or gaining weight. And it's generally not just off your physical appearance, but I know you so well know it's your attitude. Like, I kind of know, because I'm sure all week you're tracking this, because that's how much you hate giving me money.
You're right. You're 100% right. So there's a couple things I want to get to here before we wrap up, and I know time's a factor.
Yeah.
So all week long, we've been talking about Casey interrupting Chuck Pagano's perfect day by throwing herself at him at the bar when he just wants to watch golf and gamble. Well, we pulled a few strings here, and now we kind of know what this would sound like. Thanks to the magic of artificial intelligence and some audio that I happen to have of Chuck Pagano, this is kind of a reenactment, okay?
No.
So here with a reenactment is AI Casey Daniels and out-of-context Chuck Pagano.
Oh, my God. Chuck, do you mind if I sit down next to you?
We're going to enjoy this.
Yes, we are going to enjoy this. Do you mind if I take my coat off and grind on your lap?
Keep grinding.
You're so handsome. And to be honest, I didn't think that fake punt against the Patriots was all that bad of an idea.
Again, it's on me, and it was a communication breakdown. It's not on those players.
It's on you, huh? You know what else is about to be on you? Me. I bet a confident and fun guy like you has a nickname for his manhood. What do you call your junk, Chuck?
Mac and Frank, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, even though my husband is here, don't worry about him. He's cool. Here's my phone number. Call me anytime. Before I go, what can I look forward to the next time I totally interrupt your day, talk your ear off, and throw myself at you? What is Chuck like in the bedroom?
Keep your blinders on, keep your earmuffs on. It is what it is.
There it is. There's a little reenactment featuring AI Casey
that's strong.
and out-of-context Chuck Pagano.
I love how you think that's how the conversation went. You know,
That's strong.
his wife was there too, by the way. She was milling about the casino.
But I love you were so into Chuck, you were willing to let the fake punt go. You know, I didn't think the fake punt was such a bad idea, Chuck. Hey, real quick, I heard Rob do his impression of Biden earlier today. Can I hear the Biden impression one more time?
Ice cream, ice cream.
Now, I've known Rob long enough to know that sounds exactly like his impression of Bruce Springsteen when he's doing Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
True.
That's not Minnie. That's not Minnie.
It's the same
you
guy.
You guys are in trouble.
It's the same voice.
It's the same picture. It is.
You know what's hilarious is as soon as I did that on the air, I was like, damn, that sounds just like Bruce Springsteen.
You were thinking that in your mind. Nice.
You're Biden and Springsteen's the same guy.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Beer Sample Friday. That's what's coming up. We're going to get Billy Bong Thornton back out. We're going to kickstart the weekend, and nobody is going to have a better time on the radio. We start at 3:06.
Thank you, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Bill Frazier is a Hoosier, an American who has served our citizens with distinction, determination, and a wisdom that comes with years of experience. Now, Bill Frazier is ready to dedicate his life to serving you as your next congressman in Indiana's 6th District. Bill Frazier is a true conservative. He'll fight for a secure border, smaller government, and lower taxes. He will be a tireless advocate for the Second Amendment and the rights of the unborn. Bill Frazier is a veteran paratrooper, a successful farmer and business owner, a licensed commercial jet pilot, a man with experience. When President Ronald Reagan needed expert advice on agricultural issues, he called on a young Hoosier farmer, Bill Frazier. Ronald Reagan trusted Bill Frazier. You can too. Vote for experience and determination. Vote for the true conservative Hoosier. Vote for Bill Frazier for Congress.
I'm Bill Frazier, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Friends of Bill Frazier.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Now offering 50% off all products, plus 20 months, no interest, no payments. Call now or go to bwindow.com.
Trust me.
Coming Coming up in 2 minutes, how pot enthusiasts are taking in 420 tomorrow and what they have to say to lawmakers. Plus, Donnie Burgess reports on a man who died in a crash in Anderson and how this organization is planning to help clean up the city of Indianapolis. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
They hope to finish today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, trying to pick the final 5 alternates for the Trump jury so the case against the former president can start next week in New York. He's in the courtroom now, but doesn't want to be.
Former President Trump speaking out ahead of day 4 in his hush money payment trial in Manhattan, bristling at the gag order he's under.
I have a lot to say to you, and I'm not allowed to say it. And I'm the only one. Everyone else can say whatever they want about me.
That order, which prohibits him from commenting on witnesses, prosecutors, court staff, and jurors in the case, was issued by Judge Juan Merchan, who the former president has accused of having a conflict and wants removed from the case.
Fox's Lillian Wu, the former president's charged with falsifying records in 2016 payments to keep an alleged affair quiet. No comment yet from Israel or Iran after an Israeli counterattack the U.S. had advance notice of but did not participate in.
It was targeted at an airbase in Isfahan province. That province is also home to Iranian missile production and nuclear facilities, including the Natanz uranium enrichment site. Following the attack, the Iranian state media downplayed its impact. This morning's strike was in response to a largely unsuccessful missile and drone barrage Iran fired at Israel this weekend.
Fox's Rich Edson at the Pentagon at a G7 meeting of our allies in Italy. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said,
"We're committed to Israel's security. We're also committed to de-escalating."
He also says the G7 remains committed to supporting Ukraine even more, fending off Russia's invasion. The House is holding a procedural vote this morning that would allow debate to set up votes this weekend on separate foreign aid bills. Democrats support that. So do some Republicans, like Congressman Mike Turner, who tells Fox,
"Getting this national security package out is incredibly important. The Speaker should be commended for doing so, and I think this is going to pass overwhelmingly on the House floor."
Some of his fellow Republicans completely disagree. They oppose new funding for Ukraine and have threatened to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson for allowing a vote. The Speaker just told Fox he's not worried about threats, just doing his job. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Tomorrow is 420. Radar is clear. It's cloudy and 51 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. One of the arguments against legalizing pot for a long time has been that it's a gateway drug. However, Keith Johnson with Indiana Normal says that the stigma is starting to shift.
Certainly, we found that the evidence supports that it's a gateway drug out of other drugs. So a lot of that stigma is dying off, and we know its medical uses now.
On Indy Politics, he's urging lawmakers not to neglect what the people of Indiana clearly want, which is legal pot. Tomorrow is 420, which is an unofficial holiday for pot enthusiasts. A man died after a crash in Anderson Tuesday. Donnie Burgess reports.
Robert Wilson was on State Road 9 in a commercial area Tuesday when he was hit by an SUV. Wilson was badly hurt and taken to a hospital in Indianapolis, where he eventually passed away Thursday. The driver of the SUV, Tracy Smith, has been fully cooperative with police so far, but they need more help. If you saw anything Tuesday, give Anderson Police a call. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
An elementary school in Lafayette is now the first in the state to move to a 4-day school week. Vinton Elementary will have students only 4 days out of the week, with students staying at school each day for about 50 minutes longer. Teachers say that the new format allows them to stay on track with coursework that they need to cover. The Great Indy Cleanup is this weekend. Ryan Davis, who's an organizer, says that it's a great way to come together with the community.
Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to be working with the Crown Hill neighborhood and to help tackle litter at a really large-scale focused cleanup project.
She says that the event will be put on by Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. Earth Day is on Monday, and you can register for the event at kibi.org. 2 days away now from the Indiana Pacers opening game of their first-round playoff series with the Milwaukee Bucks. Tip-off Sunday is at 7. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Damon's Lawn and Garden on West Rockville Road.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, April 19th, 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the far-right House Freedom Caucus, you're familiar with them. They have formed a new team, and it's a subset of the Freedom Caucus. And the entire point of this group is to make sure that Mike Johnson or other Republicans don't try to limit their power. The name of this group is the Floor Action Response Team, also known as FART. It's not a joke. They're calling themselves FART. Sounds about right.
There's no way they didn't know that when they were doing it. Right?
Well, I mean, Lauren Boebert was out saying, hey, I'm a mom of 4 boys. I can appreciate that. FART. Yeah. Sounds about right.
There's no way they didn't know that that's what they were doing.
So all of this started when, Mike Johnson started supporting the funding bill, the $1.2 trillion funding bill to avert the shutdown. And also that he's made it clear that he wants the House to vote on additional U.S. aid to Ukraine. So the Freedom Caucus now has a subset of even more angry people calling it FART.
Look, so the goal of this group is to prevent shenanigans from happening on the House floor.
That's their idea.
That's their thing.
Yeah.
Look, we can chuckle about this all we want all day, but our government is a mess. And part of life, part of being an adult, part of being a decent member of society, part of being a good father or a good husband or a good mother or wife is living up to your obligations to other people. And that's true in business, and that's true as just a human being in general. It's true as a friend. It's true as a family member. And it certainly should be true, although almost never is when it comes to our politicians, that they don't live up to their obligation, the deals they make with the public when they run. And we are seeing, once again, in real time, where the Republican Party has given in or folded or succumbed to, or just quite frankly, in many cases, that's what they want to do, special interest at the expense of the American people. And so once again, you're going to see the military-industrial complex propped up and fully funded, foreign wars and foreign conflicts fully funded, things we have nothing to do with or not involved in, fully funded at the expense of what's going on here at home. And southern borders not being taken care of, inflation not being addressed, but Ukraine's going to get their money, and Israel's going to get their money, and Taiwan's going to get their money. What are you getting? What are you getting?
Higher prices.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ukraine is not my responsibility. And this boogeyman argument, you can call me cold or heartless or whatever, the Putin boogeyman argument doesn't fly with me. Because when the last time I heard not the last time, but when I first caught on to the boogeyman premise was in 2003 with the country of Iraq, and how if we don't go into Iraq, well, you could all end up in a mushroom cloud. And he's got nuclear weapons, and he's aiding and abetting terrorists. And we went in there, and we were there for years and years and years. And that entire area is still a mess, and no weapons of mass destruction were ever found. And terrorists are still being aided and abetted by Middle Eastern countries. And I do not believe for a second that Putin would be moving on NATO. This was about Putin trying to take back a portion of land that he believed belonged to him. Now, reasonable people can disagree with that. Different people can come to different conclusions on whether that's accurate or not. But what he was doing had nothing to do with us, and we made it about us because that's what we do. And the bullets and the weapons that we're going to give to Ukraine are going to be made here, and it's going to make a bunch of people who prop up these politicians very rich and very wealthy. And the same thing's going to happen with Israel, and the same thing's going to happen with Taiwan. And so if you're fine paying exorbitant prices for food and for gas and for medicine and for housing, if you're fine not being able to afford life so that countries that don't even like us in some cases can get free stuff, then you're probably pretty happy about what's transpiring here. Me, I think this sucks because I'm sick of not being able to afford life.
Matt Gaetz is a member of the FART team, the Floor Action Response Team. And I saw this and I thought it was kind of interesting. It comes from Interactive Polls, and this is a poll for 2026 Florida governor. Republican primary. 2026 Florida governor.
Yep.
They've got Casey DeSantis polling at 38% and Matt Gaetz at 16%.
Does she even want to be in politics?
I don't know. But isn't that fascinating that the wife of Ron DeSantis is doing better than someone who's in the FART team?
Well, look,
he's the crack FART team.
He's done a heck of a job. And I get that one individual member of Congress is not going to be able to change the Congress. There's 435 representatives. But let's face it, the House of Representatives, of which Matt Gaetz has been a member of for quite a while now, is completely ineffective. The Republican Party is completely ineffective. And I think that's kind of where people are at. Like, I was driving into work today, Casey, and it is rare that this happens to me. But I was just like thinking about everything that's going on in this country right now. And I was thinking about everything that's going on in our state right now. And you just kind of throw your hands up. And I get why people check out of the process, or some people never check in to begin with, because you just go, where do you even start? It's so screwed up. And there doesn't appear to be much of anybody out there raising their hand going, I'll fix it. Put it on my shoulders. I'll take this. I'll carry this ball. I'll fight for you. And if the people that we elect are not going to fight for us, what can we do? What do we do? And so I think that's where a lot of people are right now. They just feel overwhelmed with this whole process. They know their lives are not better. They know their lives are getting worse. They worry about their kids having a better life than they did. And quite frankly, they worry about affording the necessities.
So this seems like an appropriate time for this conversation. How many farts a day is considered normal? And I'm not talking about the Floor Action Response Team.
Right.
I'm talking about actual gas.
Yeah. Like, how many times do you fart?
How many times is normal? When should you be worried? According to Dr. William Che, who's from the University of Michigan, passing gas between 5 and 15 times a day is normal. Of course, factors like your diet and your gut bacteria are going to influence how much gas you produce and also the smell.
I mean, you know, they told us the other day, not everything needs a take. And so I think I'm going to apply that to this one, Casey.
You're going to pass on this one?
I'm going to pass. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right. Hey, look, we got to take a break.
Okay.
You have early voted. Is that correct?
Well, I filled out the WIBC GOP survey.
Okay. All right. So you haven't officially cast your vote, but you did fill out. So right now, if you go to WIBC.com, there's a survey there. We encourage everybody to take it. It's who, kind of getting the lay of the land of how people are feeling about the governor's race, how they're feeling about the congressional race. And Casey revealed to me who she voted for.
In the GOP survey at WIBC. It's
just the most perfect thing ever, and I'd like to discuss it when we come back.
Okay. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Mario Andretti, Tony Kanaan, and Dario Rachel Franchitti, champions who have shared their stories at Tales from the Track. This May, WIBC welcomes Indianapolis 500 winner and 6-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon to share his stories from the greatest track in racing. Monday, May 20th, Scott joins you and Hammer and Nigel for an evening of food, fun, and Tales from the Track. Brought to you by Relay Indiana. Tickets are available now at WIBC.com.
What people suffering from nasal breathing, snoring, and sleep apnea problems want is for their issues to be fixed. And at Advent, that is precisely what we do. Here, there are no Band-Aids, but there is a thorough approach to get to the root of your problem. And in tens of thousands of cases, finding simple solutions, which are undeniably effective, have made remarkably positive impacts on people's lives. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. For years, patients have been traveling literally from around the world to come to us to find what no one else has been able to give them. And that's why now we've come closer to you.
If your quality of life has been diminished because of nasal breathing, snoring, or sleep apnea problems, and you don't know who to turn to, go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. adventknows.com.
Results may vary.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-239-1749. 800-239-1749.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Now offering 50% off all products, plus 20 months, no interest, no payments. Call now or go to bwindow.com.
Trust me. I've got to run to keep from and I'm back.
Good morning, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
People can't see you lip singing.
Jamming over here.
Is it? Oh, it's my turn to talk, isn't it?
You said there was something you wanted to mention.
Well, okay, so there's this survey that we're saying, hey, if you're a WIBC listener, if you just head over to WIBC.com, we were just kind of curious, like, how are people feeling about the governor's race? How are they feeling about these congressional races? Because obviously there's all sorts of primaries going on, and we're kind of just we're not trying to do some super scientific anything. We're curious to get a feel of how our audience is doing. And so if you head over to WIBC.com, you take this survey. It takes literally 20 seconds, and you just say, hey, in the governor's race, I'm thinking about voting for so-and-so. And in my U.S. Congressional district, I'm thinking about voting for so-and-so. And Casey, you took the survey.
I did.
And I have no problem telling people I took mine. I said I'm going to vote for Jamie Rittenauer in the governor's race as a protest vote for them kicking her off the stage, even though she qualified to run for governor. And in my race, Charles Bookwalter over Jim Baird, because I would vote for an aged banana peel over Jim Baird, and everyone else should too.
Yeah.
But and then you said, why? I took the survey too.
I did. I went to WIBC.com and I took the GOP primary voter survey.
And
wanted to walk through the process just to know what we're inviting our listeners to do.
Did you actually do some research on this? Because you are in the 7th, which is Marion County.
Yeah.
And you have a contested congressional primary on the Republican side.
Yeah.
And did you actually do some research on the candidates?
Well, clearly not enough.
What did you do? Like, what did you look into?
Here's what happened. So I went to WIBC.com, and you got to put in an email, and then it's, I don't know, what is it, like 10 questions? It doesn't take long at all.
No, it's very fast.
And you just, select the thing, and then you move on to the next question. And so being in the 7th district, I knew Andre Carson is my current
yes, that's correct.
And then the list comes up of GOP candidates.
Sure.
And I looked at the list and I was like, oh, right, Gabe Whitley. Well, not gonna select him.
Well, because of course, he's under investigation from the FEC and the IED over donors that don't exist, and of course now he's got this issue making up a veterans group that he claimed endorsed him that nobody can seem to locate, and so he's got a litany of issues. So he would obviously be a no-go for any person with any amount of common sense. But then you had others you had to try to choose from.
Well, and then I thought, okay, you know what? Let me look up who these people are. And the first person I looked up was Jennifer Pace, and I said, okay, sure, why not? I mean, I knew that this was just for the WIBC survey.
Right.
So it wasn't my actual vote. And I read that she had been in advertising, and I thought, okay, I can support this. It's not Gabe Whitley. And she runs in the same, circle business that I'm familiar with.
Sure.
That's just good as anybody else, right?
Perfect, yeah. Yeah, and then I feel like you missed something that was kind of would have stood out to me when I was reviewing the options there in the 7th. There was something that stood out about her to me that apparently didn't make it onto your.
When I Googled her obituary did not show up.
Yeah, she's deceased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, tragically, this lady Jennifer Pace did pass away. Abdul said it was in March.
Right, but she's still on the ballot.
But she's on the ballot. Because the February was the filing deadline, so she is on the ballot.
Yeah.
And Abdul actually voted for her.
Intentionally.
And he actually tweeted about it when he voted for her, like in real life. So you just did this on the survey. Here is should I read what Abdul tweeted when he actually physically in person cast his vote for her? All right. Normally I don't discuss who I vote for, but today I'll make an exception. In the GOP primary, I voted for Jennifer Pace for Congress. She was dead when I voted, but I figured a dead January 6th election denier would make a better candidate for would make for a better congressional candidate than Gabe Whitley. And that's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Here's what I think would be the greatest thing ever would be if, and again, very sorry this lady did pass away, but if the deceased lady ended up getting more votes than Gabe Whitley.
Yeah, that would be something. So now that I know that information, I'm down to Catherine Ping or Philip Davis.
Yeah.
And first glance, it looks like Catherine Ping served in the military.
She did, yeah. She's been around a long time.
Army National Guard. So that's a nice thing. I was told, by the way, when we were at the front porch.
Do you feel bad you voted for a dead person? Do you feel bad? I mean, not that you put a bunch of research into this. This wasn't your actual vote.
No. I mean, it was the WIBC thing. It's not like it was, and I was just doing it so that I knew what questions we were asking our listeners.
I understand.
They'll probably throw my answers out anyway. But in real life, had I done that, I probably would have felt stupid. Like, why didn't I know that?
I do desperately want the deceased lady to get more votes than Gabe does. That would be just the most appropriate thing ever, because he's going to get dealt with in due time by the other the IED, FEC, et cetera. But in the meantime, I think him for the election, the best present our listeners could send would be if the deceased lady ended up with more votes.
More votes than
what were
him.
you saying? The Front Porch Patriots.
Somebody that I met at the Front Porch Patriot event with Micah.
Yeah.
Was, I think it was Air Force. He was wearing the hat, and I thanked him for his service. And he said he was a longtime listener and that he was giving you all sorts of accolades.
Oh, that was nice of him.
And he said, one thing that I think that you guys need to do more often is acknowledge our military. I said, okay.
Don't we do that quite a bit?
You wanted to hear it more.
Oh, well. Now we're doing it.
So I thought this is a good opportunity.
Yes.
I was reminded of that when I noticed that Catherine Ping had served in the Army National Guard. I thought, okay, let's take this chance.
And she'll probably end up being the nominee. She's been around a long time. She's run for a couple of public offices before. She's, by all accounts, a very nice, normal person. Has probably actual donors who really exist and doesn't get endorsed by phony, fake veterans groups. And so, I mean, that's the bar. That's the bar the Marion County GOP is at now, Casey. That's how low the Marion County GOP has fallen and how low they've set the bar. That Catherine Ping is the best choice because she probably has actual, live, living, real donors. And she isn't making up veterans groups that have endorsed her.
Right.
That's our bar for the Marion County GOP now.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And Dickie Betts, the Allman Brothers co-founding guitarist. He passed away. He was 80 years old. Of course, he was behind the classics like Ramblin' Man and Jessica. And this guy could really play some guitar. Here he is talking about how he picked guitar when he was young.
Well, I started playing music when I was 3 or 4 years old. Played ukulele and mandolin and the banjo, and I don't know, when I was playing a lot of country music, like bluegrass, and when I reached 16 years old, around there, I got into Chuck Berry and Dwayne Eddy and started playing in teen clubs and things like that, and I got into guitar, electric guitar.
So, Ramblin' Man, one of those songs that has been played over and over and over again since its release.
Sure.
On the radio. And he was asked how many times Ramblin' Man has been played. And he had an answer for it.
I received an award from BMI for, it's called a Millionaires Award. And that means that the song has been played over 1 million times on the radio. And they explained to me that if you gave that record to one radio station and said, just play Ramblin' Man in your format until you've played it 1 million times, it would take them 7 years, 7 years to finish playing it 1 million times.
They'd have to play it nonstop.
So I was thinking about that interview because I was watching a Jackson Brown something on him the other day, and they're talking about some of the stories behind the songs, and I was thinking to myself, so like my parents' generation would have been the people, in this case the Doobie Brothers, who consumed the Doobie Brothers in real time. So the kind of appreciation for that music and an interest to hear interviews like that was passed down to me because in a weird way they were still living, and I sort of experienced it through my parents. I do wonder, though, where the stories and the meanings and the songs themselves go now that my generation is having kids, or certainly the generation after that, because the actual life experience of that music is now being removed by generations. And you think about a song like A Ramblin' Man that had so much impact on so many lives. Does it ultimately, though, get lost to time and all the meaning and love and joy those songs brought to people over time? Does it just fade away? Does it all disappear? Does it, will there be people that'll still en masse be finding this music going, oh my gosh, this is so great, without somebody being there really to tell them or point it out to them?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it will be archived on YouTube. That sort of thing. I mean, that interview with him was from 1984.
But how do people find it and how do they stop?
Yeah.
That's the key, right? YouTube's a rabbit hole. You can whatever.
Right.
But how do you, unless your parents are telling you, I didn't know about the Doobie Brothers because I had done some great in-depth research as a kid. I knew about it, because my parents would listen to that music. So you become familiar with it. So as an adult, you become, or as a teenager or whatever, you become interested in it, try to learn about it, and that sort of stuff stays with you throughout your existence. I wonder
if a genre like that will stick around.
Right.
Is it timeless? But they say there's those years that music was created, that the rock era.
Sure.
Late 70s.
69 to 74,
right.
The greatest music in the history of the world. I mean, you had almost every big name artist was active 1969 and 1974. It's incredible.
So is that just going to be a timeless?
Well, that's
capsule.
But there's also the meaning behind the stuff, right? So like for the people that I listen to, like a great example would be Michael Stanley. I love Michael Stanley and the Michael Stanley Band. Michael Stanley was this outside of the Midwest, largely kind of obscure artist who had a couple of big regional hits in the late 70s, early 80s, well, who now is seeking out outside of Cleveland, Ohio? Michael Stanley.
Right.
And will 10 years from now anybody, because as that generation unfortunately starts to die off, and where does the meaning behind all these great songs that brought all this great meaning to all these people, what does that just evaporate? And all does it, it really does bother me a little bit, like just hearing that interview about seemed like a really good dude, and obviously made all this great music and had a lot of interesting things to talk about. I just wonder how that energy and that meaning and stuff gets captured going forward for future generations.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Retaliation. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Israel has hit back at Iran, the U.S. confirming that missiles have hit several targets inside Iran, with no word yet on whether there were any casualties. Several explosions heard near an airbase linked to Iran's nuclear program. This all comes after Israel vowed to respond to Iran's missile and drone attack earlier this week. Former President Trump speaking before heading back into court today in New York.
New York is going down as a very corrupt place to do business. That I can tell you, a lot of people are not going to be moving to New York.
The 12 jurors in his case have been selected, but lawyers still have to agree on 6 alternates. Trump is on trial for corrupt business dealings in which he's accused of sending hush money to a porn star. The trial expected to start on Monday, given that they get all the jurors selected. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Guys, when she's ready, shouldn't you be ready too? There's good news. For 20 years, Boston Medical Group has delivered a simple and effective solution for ED, proven to work when all else has failed. It's ICP, also known as ED shots. ICP uses a custom blend of FDA-approved medications specifically formulated to restore healthy blood flow where you need it most. ICP works for 98% of men in just a few minutes, regardless of age or medical conditions. Previously acquired only by an in-person visit, our telemedicine platform now brings this virtually 100% effective solution to your doorstep nationwide. You can be ready for her with confidence. Call 800-940-2900. The first 100 patients will receive 10 extra doses of ICP medication for free when you sign up for treatment program today. Call 800-940-2900. That's 800-940-2900. Or visit bostonmedicalgroup.com.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. It is Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. And man, what a deal Universal Windows Direct has going on right now. You call today, 317-659-7574. Schedule a totally free in-home estimate. For every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. That's right. All you got to do is call 317-659-7574. Schedule a totally free in-home estimate. And for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There's no limit. So you buy 2, you get 2. Buy 4, you get 4. Buy 20, you get 20. You know the drill. Plus, when you call 317-659-7574, you tell them, you say, hey, Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call. Universal Windows Direct going to take an additional $250 off your project. And on top of all that, Universal Windows Direct is going to upgrade your new windows to triple pane glass for free. That means extra protection from the elements, a consistent temperature in your home, increased energy efficiency, and reduced heating and cooling costs. Universal Windows Direct, 317-659-7574. Tell them Rob sent you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
That moment when you realize you have a serious air conditioner issue. A real strip down to your skivvies, no one's sleeping tonight, head in the freezer fail party. But fear not. There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Broad Ripple Service Experts keep you cool. Get worry-free comfort for one low monthly payment.
Wanna chill? There's an expert for that.
Call Broad Ripple Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 27th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
My husband Bob has Parkinson's and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. Eligible members can select a plan now. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Damon's Garden Center has endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, hanging baskets, plus garden and landscape supplies, and a friendly, helpful staff at Damon's on West Rockville Road.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
7.5 years now with this song. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about the Yahoo Boys. These are a smooth-talking group of scammers. Oh. They're using face-swapping technology, and they're carrying out some pretty elaborate romance scams.
Face swapping. So this is the face-off Nicolas Cage, John Travolta movie come to real life.
Well, except for they're not actually removing the top layer of their face and putting it on someone else. They're doing it with apps and technology. Oh. Yeah. So this is a group of guys, and it's like the Nigerian prince who sends you the email, and you can help him if you send him a bunch of money. There's been more than $650 million lost to this romance fraud group. They're not an organized group. Right. They have no leader, but they're just this collection of con artists that are known as the Yahoo Boys.
Oh, and so they're pretending to be other people, and then their goal is to get you to give them gifts and monies, et cetera, thinking you're in some sort of long-distance relationship with them.
Yes, that's the thing.
Right.
They'll target women, and they use this face-swapping technology.
Yeah.
And they sit there on their camera, and they do all the smooth talking, but I could really use your help with finances, and the woman gives up the money, and in fact, it's not even who she thought she was talking to. Deep fake.
Yeah, dating seems like a death trap these days, like attempting to find any sort of reasonable human being that you can enjoy sharing, I don't know, some sort of sustained relationship with, much less a life with. And I feel bad for the younger generation because they are, over time, phasing out the importance of in-person, we talked about this many times, in-person conversations, meeting someone in person, walking up to a random person and having a conversation with them. That to me was one of the great parts of dating, was getting to know people and learn about them and find out, do I have an interest in having an experience with this person? And it sounds like more and more just, it's all gone.
And the thing is, they're bragging about this, how they're doing it. There are videos out online showing how they're doing these scams. Like, they're proud of it.
So somehow through artificial intelligence, right, they don't look the way they actually look. And so it's hard to, you wouldn't be able to find this person once the scam is up. And
but they're using two phones, and one phone is like the FaceTime connection.
Sure.
The other phone is using all of the AI face swapping technology. So when you're on the other line doing a FaceTime or a Zoom call, you could be talking to an attractive man with a square jaw and a beard and looks good.
Looks just like Kevin.
Right. When in fact, the person on the other end looks nothing like that.
Right.
And doesn't look like Kevin at all.
This game, what is the movie? No Country for Old Men, No Dating for Old Men, because when I was dating, if somebody had a webcam, you could prove it. Hey, you got to get on the webcam, and then it became
show me the newspaper.
If you got a cellular telephone, it's like now, hey, take a quick video of yourself or whatever. Now, I mean, like you're saying, unless you physically meet someone in person and stick your finger out and touch them, and that person is real, and your finger doesn't go through them.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Well, and what kind of person are you that you're having this online relationship, which is fine, but they start asking you for money and you've never met them in person? Isn't that where a red flag goes up?
Well, it should, but again, I think as we have just ingrained in people the lack of, well, first of all, the lack of in-person encounters and relationships and those sort of things. And then I think these people are so good at it, Casey, that they don't just right away start asking you for money. And
they milk it along for a while.
Scammers are really good at this sort of stuff. And that, like you said, now you don't really have anything to go off of because you're not even seeing the person you're actually with. Once you figure out the scam, how do you catch the culprit? It seems like a pretty miserable thing to go through.
Yeah, next level scamming. It's here. Susan Beckwith is going to join us next, and we're going to talk Derby.
Derby etiquette. It's right around the corner.
Talk Derby to me.
Don't go to Kentucky with bad etiquette. We'll tell you how to prepare coming up next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show. Nobody has more fun than we do in the afternoons, especially when it's Beer Sample Friday. We might get the beer bong back out today. I don't know, but we start after the news at 3. 93 WIBC.
On a map, the southern border is 1,000 miles away, but that's not how it feels to my family. I grew up in a blue-collar home in Richmond. My dad was a factory worker. He was laid off twice. Not because the factory was doing poorly, but because it was cheaper to move those jobs across the border. I'm Jameson Carrier. Today, it's not what's leaving across the border that's devastating our families, it's what's coming in. And once again, it's personal. My wife and I lost our son Joey to fentanyl, a tragedy that's become far too common. To President Biden, secure the border is just a talking point. But to our family, it's life and death. I'm Jameson Carrier. I'm a business owner, a native Hoosier, and a Trump Republican. And we can't wait another day to secure our border and put Americans first. I'm Jameson Carrier, and I approve this message.
Jameson Carrier for Congress. Paid for by Carrier for Congress, Inc.
How would you like to get a 13% bonus when you invest your money? Not only do you get a 13% bonus, but you'll also get an annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years. Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. Discover how you can get an upfront 13% bonus plus a competitive annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years.
Learn more from the retirement guy that we trust, Bill Demery here in Indy. Call him today, 317-648-5120. This was such a no-brainer for me. Why wouldn't you do this? You get an upfront 13% bonus plus a competitive annual return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years. And it's backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 648-5120. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
Chapters of this story take a whole month to tell. This is May. It starts with twists and turns on the IMS road course for the Sancio Grand Prix. Then PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying in the fight for the pole position. May continues with Indy's biggest party, Miller Lite Carb Day. And all roads lead to the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. May is yours. May is ours. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
Let Bill Estes put you behind the wheel of the powerhouse brands that define American toughness. Ford, Chevy, Ram, and GMC.
Right now, get up to $10,000 off new 2023 Ford F-150 XLT models.
Unleash the power of the road with Bill Estes Trucks. Find the location near you and see their inventory at BillEstesTrucks.com.
All rebates and incentives included in final discount. Excludes tax, title, and other fees. Stock number BFB 231021. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The early bird nursery sale is on at Sundown Gardens in Westfield. 20% off container trees and shrubs. 186th Street, Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Oh, yes, it is time to wrap up the work week. And as we do each week on this very fabulous show, we send you, our adoring public, into the weekend with the tools and traits and, well, general pleasant demeanor and manners necessary to be a productive member of society. We call the segment, Casey, Mind Your Manners.
It's a good thing that we have Susan Beckwith to be that nice, productive, pleasant person.
Yeah, because as you showed with Chuck Pagano this week, you sure don't have it.
We fail sometimes, don't we?
Absolutely. And yeah, Susan Beckwith, she is the star of the Mind Your Manners segment, former Miss Indiana. All right, Susan, the Kentucky Derby is actually just 2 weeks away, and you said we must talk about Kentucky Derby etiquette.
I would love to go to the Derby someday, so this is part of my ploy to, send to my husband to say, this is something I really want to do, so let's make it happen.
Is he busy this year? Does he have something going on that will prohibit you from going?
Absolutely. We are in full-on campaign mode, and it's been awesome. But, yes, it's not going to happen this year, which is sad because it is the 150th, did I say that correctly, 150th anniversary. So it's a really big one. So I'm sad we're going to miss it, but maybe next year.
All right. So I'm totally floored you've never been because your whole thing is you're like a Midwestern belle. You're the Southern belle transplanted into Indiana. I'm floored you've never actually been to the Kentucky Derby.
I am surprised as well. My father actually lives in southern Kentucky, so I'm sad that I haven't been there. It is definitely a mission of mine. So I want to be familiar with the protocol, the etiquette. So I've actually been doing some research, and I thought that might be something interesting for your listeners as well.
So there's actual rules for Casey's showing me a photo right now. You've been to the Kentucky Derby.
I have been to the Kentucky Derby.
Is that your husband?
I'm jealous.
There's some man you're photographed with. Is that your husband?
Yeah, it is.
I couldn't tell.
And Susan, I was actually at the Derby at the 140th, so it was a decade ago that I was there at the Derby.
And you should post this photo up at Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter, Casey. She has the big floppy hat. Is that our first piece of etiquette, Susan? You must wear a big floppy hat if you're a woman.
Well, that's part of the reason I want to go, but it really depends on where you're sitting. So the more expensive your tickets, the more formal your look should be. But there is an area that's much more casual. I would attribute it to our infield here. That it's much.
Oh.
I mean, the atmosphere, the party is very different. Probably be objective, but yes, there are areas that absolutely they encourage you to be very dressed up and formal, and your hat should actually coordinate with your outfit.
Oh, so Casey, that was apparently you were in the rich people seats. It looks like.
Well, okay. So the thing about the Kentucky Derby, it's a weekend long event, and on Friday night, it's called the Oaks, and everyone wears pink, including the men. If you want to see a picture of Jim in pink pants, I've got it.
I love it.
Okay, so
Casey, do you know why they wear pink?
I'm sure I did at one time. I don't remember.
Actually, I found this interesting. So it's to raise awareness for breast cancer and ovarian cancers, and they actually have a survivors parade that happens before the race takes place where they walk around the track.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason, but also the official flower that they give to the winner of the Oaks is the Stargazer lily, which is pink. And they also have an official drink called the lily that is pink in hue. So those are all kind of the reasons why pink is encouraged for the Oaks.
What's the name of it? What's the name of that drink?
The lily.
Casey, did you get super boozed up on the lily on the night before the Derby?
No, I don't recall that. And now that you mention it was for breast cancer awareness, that rings true to me. But I did have quite a few mint juleps.
It's okay. Susan Beckman's our guest. It's Mind Your Manners. We're getting you prepared for the Kentucky Derby, which is just 2 weeks away. In fact, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Susan, you mentioned that you had to do research on this about the etiquette for the Kentucky Derby. Where is this written down? And Casey, did you know that there is a general, there is Jim with the pink pants, by the way, that there's a general list of code of conduct for the Kentucky Derby?
Well, there are lots of resources, but a lot of the ones that I took for this segment was from Diana Gottsman, who is an etiquette coach out of Texas that I really enjoy following. So she had some great points. Now, the article that I was using as a resource was a little bit dated, so some of her pricing on tickets was off because it's significantly gone up, and box seats can be anywhere starting at $5,700.
How much?
I mean, it's a very $5,700 for those seats. But I mean, there is a range. I think the cheapest seats that you can get are around $160.
That sounds like it.
Wait.
That's where I was sitting.
Wait. You said somebody 5'7" and then 2 zeros at the end?
That's for the premium box seats. So those are like the amazing VIP,
What do you get to ride? You get to ride the horse afterwards? Or what do you get for that?
That'd be amazing. I'm the size of some jockeys, so that would,
Okay, so what is kind of one or two, if you say, hey, look, when you're going to the Kentucky Derby, here is the number one thing you need to be thinking about when you walk in those gates?
obviously we've touched on attire and being mindful of that, but some of the other traditions, I actually did not know this. I'm sure Casey did, but as far as they sing after the race, My Kentucky Home. So, yes, that's, and they also, the official drink is the mint julep, which I hear. So a lot of people actually do prefer the lily.
So wait, you got two options. I got to choose when I go out there.
Well, the thing in Kentucky,
can I double fist them?
Yes, you can double fist them, and I believe it's encouraged actually. But a good Kentucky bourbon will get you far as well.
Oh, how exciting!
If you just want it neat.
All right. Do you want to disclose how much you drank at the Kentucky Derby? Do you want to tell us? Did someone have to pick you up off the dirt, or?
No, nobody had to pick me up. And it's a long day. Another thing people don't realize about the Kentucky Derby, when you say the Kentucky Derby, the actual Kentucky Derby race is only one race out of the entire day. There's about 16 to 17 races throughout the day. The Kentucky Derby race is typically about the 14th or 15th race. So it's a long day, especially it's very much like the Indy 500. If you're going to get there early, you have to pace yourself. Many times it's warm and sunny, and you can go to like the infield, and that's where people are not dressed with the big hats and the floral dresses and the suits and the ties. They're much more casual, and in many cases, very celebratory.
Having a good time,
yes. And you can, take your own belongings with you. And then, as Susan mentioned, there's the bench seats, and the price goes up the higher you go and closer you get to the box.
All right, Susan, before we wrap up, we have a very important question for you, but I want to give you an opportunity. Is there another thing, like something if people are planning on heading to the Kentucky Derby, that they should absolutely keep at the forefront when it comes to proper etiquette and manners?
Well, I did want to share that, Casey had mentioned that it's a whole weekend full of festivities, but actually it starts 2 weeks prior. So there's an event that kind of kicks it off with the Thunder under Louisville, which is happening tomorrow, which is a big lights display show. So, there's just a lot. So if you are interested in going, you could certainly make it a very fun and festive occasion where you could pack a lot in, and it has a lot to offer other than just the race. So, I hope to get there. I will for sure be wearing the biggest hat I can find.
Okay, so Casey and I got into a big debate about this. Was this last week we got into this? I think it was. You're the perfect person to ask this because your father, as you said, lives in Kentucky. You're a Hoosier. So what is the bigger event, the bigger single-day event? Is the Kentucky Derby or the Indy 500?
Well, I think ours is the largest one-day spectator sport in the world, or at least that's what I thought.
Right.
I should know that. I'm a former 500 festival prince.
Yes, you should. You participated in it. You should know that. You are indeed correct. Yeah, I think we both agreed, right, Casey? The Indy 500 is the bigger deal. Like if you were to stop some guy in Bozeman, Montana, and ask them, they would say that the Indy 500 is a bigger deal than the Kentucky Derby.
I mean, I think it's a very different flavor and it probably attracts very different types of people. But I've done the Indy 500. It's wonderful. I love it. I love race season. But I definitely hope to get to the Churchill Downs and be a part of that someday.
When you were a 500 princess, you ever do like a beer bong in the infield or the snake pit on race day? Is that like part of your responsibility?
No, it was not. I did change a tire, though, and they were impressed. That petite little me.
How did you even lift it? Those things are huge. Those tires on those cars are so wide and big.
You know what? I was very blessed. The year of Miss Indiana, they give you all kinds of stuff. So I had a personal trainer. I was, I lifted weights at that time.
Lots of perks being Miss Indiana.
Boy, howdy. All right, hey, tell us about your very fabulous website and Facebook page, Belle of the Midwest.
It's a great resource for all things social etiquette. There's also a great series this year that we launched all about different bells of the Bible and what makes them special and unique. So I hope you check it out. It's also a great place to submit your etiquette questions, so be sure to do that. And if you don't follow me already on social media, I'm at Belle of the Midwest on both Instagram and Facebook.
Belle of the Midwest, BELLE of the Midwest.com. Also find it on Facebook. Susan Beckwith, you're the best. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, and you'll get between those twin spires one day with your own mint julep.
This is where you tell us to go home, Casey.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
Show's over.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you back here Monday. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Mortgage rates have lowered going into the spring selling season. Now is the time to act to maximize your equity. Mark Dietel has the plan and experience to sell your home fast and for maximum value this spring. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Katie and Chris in Perry Township had to say about working with Mark Dietel. Sadly, our marriage was ending, and we were both ready to sell the home and move forward ASAP. Mark Dietel is the man for this job. Our home sold for more than we anticipated in 24 hours with 17 showings and multiple offers thanks to the Mark Dietel team. Call the agent I trust and recommend and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-239-1749, 800-239-1749, or biglou.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
If you see me stopped in the McDonald's drive-thru, just staring at the menu with my "what should I order" face, don't interrupt. It's the most important decision I'll make all day.
Decide on delicious with buy one, get one for $1. Now with the hot and spicy McChicken, McDouble, or small fries. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Valid for product of equal or lesser value.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
It pays to be early because at Cracker Barrel, you can get early dinner deals weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. That includes their signature meatloaf, homestyle chicken, and more, starting at just $8.99. So make tonight an early dinner night at Cracker Barrel. We'll see you there.
Now offering 50% off all products, plus 20 months, no interest, no payments. Call now or go to bwindow.com.
Trust me. On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up.
So instead of being in Pennsylvania or Georgia, lots of other places.
Fort Wayne police say Keith Tolomei didn't just smoke with his daughter.
Pot is still completely illegal in Indiana.
If you need to go to the Central Indiana Police Foundation.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
There's work to do.
Partly cloudy and 52 degrees in the Circle City with a high of 64 this afternoon. I'm Sean Herrick.
And I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at noon.
The jury selection for former President Donald Trump's hush money trial in New York City continues. They've picked 12 jurors already. They need 6 alternates. And Trump continued to comment that he'd rather be out campaigning than cooped up in court all day.
But this is a rigged case, and this is a case that was put in very